The regular meeting of the Aurora City Council for Monday, September 9th, 2024 is called to order. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Kaufman.
Here.
Councilmember Bergen.
Here.
Councilmember Coombs. Councilmember Coombs. Councilmember Gardner.
Here.
Councilmember Hancock.
Here.
Councilmember Drinsky.
Here.
Councilmember Lawson.
Here.
Councilmember Medina.
Here.
Councilmember Murillo.
Present.
Councilmember Stenberg.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Zvonek.
Here.
There's a quorum.
Please join me in a prayer. O Lord, our God and our Father, we come to you and we ask that you would look upon this particular gathering tonight to keep us safe and guide us in our decisions. Bless our city with honorable citizens, industries, sound education, and good government. Unite our community together, even though we come from different backgrounds. We pray that there be justice and peace in our city. Give the city council and citizens the wisdom, direction, and sensitivity to the business and proceedings before us tonight. Hear us, therefore, as we commit this meeting to the help of the community. Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which is concerned, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Executive session update. In executive session, we discussed litigation update and potential litigation update. Announcement of the public call-in line.
City Council welcomes feedback from the public on both matters appearing on the agenda and during public invited to be heard. If you would like to speak and have not already spoken to an operator, please press *3. For those watching on Channel 8, call 855-695-3475 and press *3 when connected. You will hear a prompt confirming you're in line to speak to an operator and then be able to continue listening to the meeting. When the operator comes on the line, please be ready to give them your name and agenda item you wish to speak on. Keep in mind you must press *3 before the city clerk reads the title of the item you wish to speak on. Finally, as a reminder, council does not allow comments about any items on the agenda during public invited to be heard. Each speaker is allowed 3 minutes, and public invited to be heard is limited to 1 hour in total.
El Consejo Municipal de la Ciudad de Aurora da la bienvenida a la opinión de sus habitantes y otros vecinos en asuntos comparecientes en la agenda y durante la invitación a la audiencia. Esta sesión tiene disponible interpretación en español. Por favor, háganos saber si usted necesita este servicio. Mi compañera Gaby está allá atrás. Si ustedes necesitan interpretación, por favor, pídanle equipo a ella. Recuerde que el Consejo no permite comentarios de la audiencia mientras se dirigen asuntos de la agenda del día. Por favor, confirme su turno y espere a la invitación para comentarios públicos. Gracias.
Land acknowledgement. The City of Aurora acknowledges that we gather on the territories and ancestral homelands of the Cheyenne, Ute, Arapaho, and Lakota peoples, past and present. We also recognize the 48 contemporary tribal nations that are historically tied to the lands that make up the state of Colorado. Indigenous peoples have remained committed to the stewardship of this land over many centuries. As these words of acknowledgement are spoken and heard, the ties that these nations have to their traditional homelands and to their vital place in the ecosystem are renewed and reaffirmed, and we are called upon to be better stewards of the land we inhabit and to continue to work to meet the needs of our entire community. Motion is in order for the approval of the minutes from August 26, 2024.
I move that the minutes be accepted.
It's moved by Councilmember Hancock, seconded by
Sundberg.
Councilmember Sundberg to approve the minutes from August 26, 2024. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, call for the question on the adoption of the minutes.
Mayor Kaufman.
Mayor votes yes.
Councilmember Medina.
Yes. Also, Katie, my computers on both are not working, my laptop or otherwise.
Okay, we'll get IT with you. Councilmember Coombs. The motion passes to adopt the August 26, 2024 council meeting minutes.
We'll next move to public invited to be heard. Council has created a public forum and wants to receive citizen input. Creating a public forum is not a legal requirement, but since Council has created that opportunity, First Amendment protections apply. This forum provides the most protection for free speech and is the most scrutinized speech by the courts. You are asked to follow the same rules that Council follows. Attacks of a personal nature are not permitted. Causing a disturbance is not allowed. Council shall be given the opportunity to address staff, to exchange contact information when the speaker is at the podium. Council may clarify statements related to any speaker's comments at the conclusion of public invited to be heard, but shall not enter into debate with the speakers. As long as we stay, as long as you stay within the 3-minute guidelines, then I will certainly support. But Council will ultimately have to decide whether or not to go past the 1-hour limit. And so, with that, public invited to be heard.
Ayante Anderson.
Dear Marjorie Taylor Greene, I'm sorry, Danielle Jurinsky. Sometimes I get my racist-ass white women mixed up. Tonight, I wanted to be able to solely talk about Kylan Lewis, which is day 109 that Kylan has not had any justice. But in the last 2 weeks, our very own individual, Councilwoman Jurinsky, you have become Fox Media's new baby. You have told lies about an innocent community, about gang takeovers happening in your city, which your former police chief said didn't happen. You got to ask Mayor Kaufman on what day he wants to say it doesn't happen, but he said it on numerous occasions that gang takeovers is not happening. But you keep putting this innocent community at risk because you want an appointment in the Trump administration. That's cute. That's real cute. Baby, your career ends on the Aurora City Council. We just want to let you know that. That you are in your final year. Welcome to the one-termer club. Ask me what I know about it. So, when you are consistently demonizing communities that simply just come to America to seek a better life, how do you go to sleep at night? How do you look your children in the eye and say, Mommy's doing everything she can to make Aurora a great city while going out and demonizing other mothers? You should be ashamed of yourself. I just don't understand. Did you truly think that your lie was going to stick? That's the question that I have, is did you really think your lie was going to stick? It didn't. It was foiled. And so now we hope that the rest of the council holds CBZ management accountable for the poor conditions that their residents are living in. That is inhumane. Mice falling from ceilings, roaches, bed bugs, no cabinets, mold, no running water. That's the conditions your Aurora residents are living in. Regardless if you want to acknowledge them as citizens or not, they came here to get a better life. But in my last few seconds, it's time for a history lesson. You ready? Which group of people came to this country and forcibly took this country over by indigenous people that were already occupying it? I'll give you a hint. It's not black people. We was chilling in Africa and your people came and stole us. It wasn't Latinx folks. They was already here. It was white people. Y'all came and conquested a land, took it over, and forced individuals out. And you have the nerve to talk about somebody and their immigration status. We'll see you at the ballot box, Danielle.
Median.
So I'm going to start my comments, kind of pick up from where we left last time, Michael. As we were leaving, you decided it was appropriate to come back into the chambers and wave at the constituency that came to engage. And I feel like that was a moment of gratification, petty gratification for you to wave goodbye to this constituency. But interestingly enough and ironically, I think that might have been the ancestors tapping you on the shoulder to let you know that your leadership is over. So you were saying goodbye because I truly do think that you have now found yourself at a crossroads. Danielle, I'd have to say also that you too have tarnished your career as a political leader, and I think that the behavior patterns that we're seeing from you are panic. You tried to sell a lie and it didn't work, and now you're panicking. So I'm just going to take a moment to ensure that we all look at the dais right now. Community, look at the behavior of your leaders. Look at those that can't look up, that want to make sure they keep their posture down. We understand what it is that you're doing. But the thing is those that stand in truth can show up consistently. Those that stand in truth can look people in the eye even when the perspective is not their own. Those that stand in truth are going to be the ones that will remain beyond these moments. And so I don't have any empathy for those that want to hide from it, that want to look down, and that want to show through nonverbal communication that they're hiding. I get it, Danielle. It's hard. It's hard. Absolutely, Mikey. I get it. It's tough, bro. Yeah. It's tough. It's tough to be in a position where you're living out this type of purpose. But I need you all to understand that you might think it's a joke, but there are people that are now living in fear because of something that you wanted to spew.
Lies.
There are individuals that are going to dub themselves vigilantes, and they are likely going to incite violence in this city. So my question for you, Danielle, is are you going to turn yourself in as an accomplice when that violence starts to happen? And the last thing that I'll say is that each and every one of us are descendants of those that got on a boat at some point. Some of us were forced, some of us came for opportunity, but with that, we are all the same.
Kiowa Lewis.
I want to take the time. There is such evil presence around amongst y'all, but then there's such angelic, honest people amongst you too. I just have to take the time to ask God for forgiveness for y'all that are exhibiting evil, does not know what you're doing. Y'all really don't. So I'm going to stand in the presence and ask the Most High for forgiveness for each and every last one of y'all that bestows hate, racist agendas, or whatever the case may be, that does not align with this, with the quote-unquote so-called God that, I don't know what God y'all pray to, but the Most High that I serve, we're all His children. But the thing is, y'all have to all treat people as such. We're all supposed to be brothers and sisters in the Most High. You know, it's been over 108 days since my brother passed away, and I just find it ironic that at this point in time that there's still nothing that has happened. I see this new police chief that y'all put in position. I hear all the racist agendas that he's about, and it makes me question the people that actually elected him. What does your mind, what processes through your mind, right? Is this something that y'all want to keep going on in this community? I thought we had an understanding that we was all supposed to be coming together. But yet, y'all do this behind closed doors at 3 o'clock? Come on now. You know? Honestly, I'm hoping that one day that it weighs on y'all that what is, not all of y'all, I'm not going to say all of y'all, but the ones I'm talking to, y'all know who I'm pointing out, that it weighs on you that what you have been doing is exhibiting evil amongst this county, amongst this city. And y'all want to come together because it's not too late to change. Like I told y'all before, the more that people start seeing that y'all don't follow along with the laws, the more that people are going to feel like they don't have to abide by the laws. And terror is going to erupt. I'm just letting y'all know what history has shown throughout the existence of civilization, the existence of democracy and governance and things of that nature. As far as the Venezuelans, I feel that this false agenda that y'all created is simply because it's something that y'all don't understand. But yet, when it comes to people you think that y'all can control, it's like, oh, don't worry about that. We know how to take it, but we know how to handle that. But when it's somebody that y'all have no clue about, y'all grow fear. And it's like, there's nothing to fear. It's all about understanding. So, me personally, thank y'all. I ain't gonna hold y'all up. Thanks.
Andres Lewis. Okay. Mohammed Kuzez.
Good evening. My name is Mohammed Kuziz. I'm a proud resident of Ward 1, former resident of Ward 3. I'm also a pediatrician dedicated to serving the children of Aurora and beyond. I stand before you tonight not just as a concerned citizen, but as a representative for our voiceless and vulnerable to demand the accountability, integrity, and the transformative leadership our city so desperately needs. Aurora has again been marred by deep and painful tragedy. The death of Kylan Lewis, an unarmed 37-year-old black man slain brutally by police in May, was not a mere statistic. It was a violent assault on our collective humanity and a brutal reminder that the festering scourge of injustice remains deeply entrenched within our police force. Kylan's death so soon after the death of Elijah McClain is a resounding indictment of a system that has failed them and countless others, revealing the existential issues at the core of our law enforcement. Adding to the erosion of trust in our leadership, we face the troubling appointment of Todd Chamberlain. His controversial history in the LAPD and the shadowy process by which he was hired are not just alarming. They are a stark affront to the principles of transparency and fairness. This lack of openness in selecting our key leaders does more than erode public trust. It signifies a blatant disregard for the moral and ethical standards that our city so desperately needs. Simultaneously, we have the plight of the CBZ apartment communities, which exposes yet another crisis of leadership. Rather than confronting the appalling conditions these individuals endure, members of the city have chosen to perpetuate harmful and proven false narratives about gang influence. These deceitful claims, propagated by an out-of-state slumlord seeking to evade their responsibilities, are a disgraceful attempt to deflect accountability and shift blame onto the true victims. This is not mere negligence, it is a profound moral failure that stains the conscience of our city. Furthermore, the unrelenting attacks on aid organizations, spearheaded by our own Danielle Jurinsky, illustrates a grave shift from addressing problems to obstructing those who are tirelessly working to do what is functionally her job. These organizations are not the enemy, they are our allies in the struggle for justice and human dignity for our residents. To undermine their efforts is to betray the very principles of compassion and solidarity that we claim to uphold. Aurora stands at a pivotal juncture. The time for evasion, deceit, and half-hearted measures has passed. We demand leaders who are resolute in their commitment to justice, transparency, and accountability. As your constituents, we insist on a return to leadership that truly serves the people, upholding the values of honor and integrity. Know this, come November, we will remember every act of dishonor and every failure to act with courage. The eyes of our community and the judgment of history are upon you. In closing, free Palestine, end the Gaza genocide, arms embargo now.
Rokia Noam.
Because they will fall and APD won't back me up. We're just sticking with that. But if they see the charge,
I felt the need to show up in my scrubs today just to let everybody know that I do have a job and that it would be great for me to go home and be able to eat rather than have to teach you how to be human every single Monday. I actually want to compare the lives of people who look like me, African Americans here in this country, with the lives of Palestinians in Palestine, because we can see a copy-paste. When you do a genocide in one nation and it works, you go and you paste it in another one. So let's talk about healthcare. Healthcare has been well documented over generations how Black women, when you're pregnant, you go to deliver, you are most likely not going to make it. 3 to 4 times more likely not to make it than somebody who looks like Danielle. Why is that? Why is race used in such a horrific way in this nation, and we allow it to continue like that? Let's talk about the lack of access to healthcare that many of our communities do not have. Insurance companies monopolizing over every single drugs, not allowing people who desperately need it to have access to them. Let's talk about the higher mortality rates that is found within Black communities because of the lack of healthcare accessibility. Let's talk about the fact that in Palestine, if you happen to be wearing a hijab like me and to be wearing scrubs like I am today, you are the target. You are saving lives, but to the Israeli occupation forces, you are the target. They do not want you to save lives, because when you are committing genocide, what do you want to do? You would know, Mayor, right? Let's talk about healthcare access for Palestinians. Every single time a Palestinian is shot by the Israeli forces on purpose, to the chest, to the head, they purposefully stop the ambulances from making it to the hospitals. Do you think that's something that the most moral army would do? But again, we have APD here, so you would know. Let's talk about education in this country. Very, very proud nation about, oh, we love to have all our children educated, but how about access to education? How about making sure that when those kids go to school, they are safe and not killed? But best believe that's when our APD decides to hide behind murals and be scared because, oh my God, there's an active shooter. Now you feel comfortable staying in the back.
Johnny Joe Gavin Truitt.
Good evening, council members. I am Johnny Joe Gavin Truitt. Kylan Lewis should still be alive. It took 3 SWAT officers out of an unmarked van 8 seconds to kill Kylan Lewis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, shot in the gut, denied due process, lynched. And we are at day 109, and for the past 2 council sessions, we haven't even been able to agree on the simple fact that this unarmed black man should not have been shot in the gut by a 20-year veteran of the force who knew what he was doing, premeditated, evident by the fact that it took over 2.5 weeks after the incident, including 2 days of full-on surveillance. They knew he was unarmed. This was a premeditated lynching, and we can't even agree on the basic fact that an unarmed black man was shot in the streets, and you can't even stand to say that he should be alive. I feel a lot of tension, a lot of division between the community and y'all, but I just want to ask that we come together and stand. Right now, I invite everybody under my voice to stand if you believe Kylan Lewis should still be alive.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Murillo. Thank you, Medea. The rest of you are white supremacists enforcing the system of racist lynching in this city. We will vote you out by democratic means. Your time is limited. And just know that if you continue this complicity in lynching, the people will fight back with any means necessary. Thank you.
Brandon Gerke.
It's been over 100 days since Kylan Lewis was killed by Officer Deke, and yet there are still no updates about his investigation. You owe us at least that. And now, City Council and the city is targeting the Venezuelan community, centering rhetoric around gangs, and that is being used to wrongfully justify more policing and targeting more brutalization towards this community, rather than dealing with the awful living conditions created by this landlord. And now, you're appointing this new Chief of Police, Todd Chamberlain, getting sworn in with absolutely no community input. How do you expect the community to trust you? How do you expect the community to trust you when you cut us out every step of the way? Every single step of the way. He was supposed to be sworn in at City Council today, and it was moved to 3 p.m. That is when most people are at work. You knew that was purposeful, to try to get the least amount of people there. It is obvious you do not care about what the community thinks. And it is abundantly clear that this City Council and City Manager doesn't want to hear from community. It is clear that this system is broken, and we need more than just these broken politicians getting elected and passing laws. We need to be able to freely and democratically determine our future. We need community control over this broken system. And getting things passed like civilian police accountability councils creates those conditions for self-empowerment of our community. And we have to be really careful with that word. Because if we're asking for you to empower us, we are playing games with ourselves. We're not asking anything from you. We are demanding justice for Kylan Lewis. We are demanding for police accountability. Thank you.
Giannina Horton.
Hello, Aurora City Council. I'm Janina Horton. I'm with the Denver Justice Project. At the Denver Justice Project, we serve the Denver metro area and system-impacted families and individuals. Our mission is to radically transform the criminal legal system through intersectional advocacy to foster safe and healthy communities. This mission is also a personal one. I have lost many of my family to the carceral system. I have also lost a family member to violent policing. I have sat across from a district attorney and received no form of justice. My heart aches for so many of other families who have been impacted by the institution of policing as it disproportionately targets and harms poor Black and brown communities. I also currently serve as a community member on the Consent Decree's Independent Monitors Community Advisory Council. I have been a part of this advisory council since the inception 2.5, nearly 3 years ago. I have had the opportunity to sit in a room of other concerned Aurora residents who felt compelled to give their time and talents to help the out-of-state independent monitor hear from the community about their experiences with the Aurora Fire and Police. Many of these members I'd like to thank for their time and leadership. I also must formally and publicly resign from the Community Advisory Council. I cannot, in good conscience, continue to support an ineffective approach to addressing the violence caused to communities of color by the Aurora Police Department. Our most striking examples of this violence are the lives lost of an unarmed Black child, Jordell Richardson, and an unarmed Black man, Kylan Lewis. In their stories, their murders are not isolated incidents. How many other people need to be harassed, beaten, belittled, killed by a police force who is emboldened to act as judge, jury, and executioner? I do not have faith in the Aurora Police Department's longevity to maintain accountability and transparency after the consent decree ends. If anything, the independent monitor is rubber stamping the racial biases that persist within the department by not assessing the translation of leadership's efforts to reform the department to staff. It is continuously evident that between bad city management and the Aurora Police Department, your toxicity will have lasting and devastating consequences for Aurorans. I call on the City of Aurora to establish a fully funded independent civilian oversight office by 2026. This office must not be subjected to the politics of Aurora City Council, the mayor, or the city manager. It is an office that will have the authority and power to monitor and review cases of misconduct and accommodations, push for policy reforms, and work alongside the department and community to promote transparency and accountability. But this is only a starting point. In a more ideal world where you as members of the Aurora City Council could be effective and respected leaders in our community should also advocate for an investment in alternatives to policing. Thank you.
Magdalena Lewis.
Okay, so today APD got a new chief of police, Todd Chamberlain. Some of y'all might not know this, but he was already rejected from Chattanooga, Tennessee, and Little Rock, Arkansas, because he was too racist. Okay? So he's sworn in today at a ceremony that was supposed to happen here, but it got rescheduled to 3 o'clock so you could evade us. Well, it didn't necessarily work, but Todd Chamberlain comes to us with a history of excessive force, racial profiling, wrongful convictions, and corruption from the LAPD. So why on earth would the city of Aurora appoint someone like this when you're already under a consent decree? And I know why. It's because he's good at covering things up, and that's exactly what you want to do. You want to make all of this go away. Well, we're not going to go away. The people are not going to go away. Now, Mike Hoffman knows a little thing about cover-ups, don't you? So some of y'all might not know this, but he helped to actually cover up the Haditha massacre in Iraq.
That's disgusting.
Toddlers were shot point blank. And if you want the proof, there was a recent article in the New Yorker that finally showed those photographs, which was the government tried to keep from us. You should be ashamed. And so what he used to cover up that massacre is what he's using today. He used the City Council of Haditha. So at this time, when we, the community, are demanding justice for the murder of Kylan Lewis, he then handpicks a chief who will continue APD's legacy of rampant misconduct and violence. And most of y'all, save 3 of you, voted to support this without any community oversight, review, anything like that. Now, Kaufman might have already traded his soul for a rich man's war, but what about the rest of you? What images of violence in your name are you willing to ignore? I also want to speak on these lies about the Venezuelan gangs. This same landlord has been sued countless times. He faced a criminal trial in New York where an infant was killed from lead poisoning and he didn't even show up. He then hired a PR firm to push this fake news story about Venezuelan gangs in order to avoid providing habitable conditions for his tenants. And you guys are going along with it. You've taken his money. You're texting him during Stiggy. I mean, it's unconscionable. You even evicted dozens of families with almost no warning and little support. So, you know, I have no words.
Paul Nelson.
Hello, Council. My name is Paul Nelson, and I went to Hinckley High School just down the street here, and I come to you today as a member of the community. My mother teaches there, too. And I'm here as a member of the National Alliance Against Racist and Political Repression, and we're sick and tired of seeing what's going on here in this city. And we're here to organize against it. I'm part of the local action committee organizing against it, and we're here today to lift up this family's righteous calls for justice and to repeat what Johnny already said, which is Kylan Lewis should be alive today. And I admire those of you who were brave enough to stand up and admit that fact, that reality. Here in the United States, we're supposed to be equal under the law, you know? But a man was murdered in the street, you know? The police in this town are given an exemption from the rule of law. They're given the right to be judge, jury, and executioner, and that's not right. It needs to end. This isn't the first time it's happened. You know this. You know when thousands of people got on the lawn out here because they were sick and tired of this continued pattern. I invite those of you on this council who still have a shred of humanity in your heart to stand up and shake up this crooked council. Knock this crooked council loose, and we need to take a look at the lack of accountability. If this council is going to advocate its accountability, you need to work to put accountability in the hands of the people. You know, we need to put power in the hands of the people. We demand the passage of legislation to establish an elected civilian police accountability council. And again, we need to be able to hold these police accountable for crimes such as assault, murder, torture, and racial profiling, the likes of which we continue to see year after year in this city. As of right now, you failed us. But the situation can change. You failed the basic task of holding the police accountable and fostering a safer community. You're not responsible enough to hold this power. The council isn't. And now you've crammed a racist and bogus police chief from a department with known police gangs into our community in the midst of where a solution could be implemented. I call on you to bring a CPAC into this. To bring community power. We need people power. We need a CPAC that has the power to select the chief of police by the people, for the people. We need to set police budgets. We need to have the ability to conduct investigations on police misconduct and actually act on them. We filed a request for the footage of what happened, and they won't even release the footage. In less than 7 minutes, your police department, your crooked police department failed to release the footage of what happened. Just as you tried to rush this new police chief in the cover of darkness, you've tried to keep the footage of what's going on in the darkness. I encourage you to shed some light on the situation, really, and clean up this rotten police department, because we can't have any more murders. And cut the racist lingo about the Venezuelan migrants. You need to remember that it was in October 31st of 1880 that Chinatown was torn to pieces based on similar rhetoric. When you lie on working people like that, racist mobs attack the people.
Flanders Lorton.
Aurora City Council, do we feel good about where this city's at right now? I would hope not. In this year, we have the death of not one, but multiple unarmed black men. We have the mayor going out of his way to protect the people? No. To start a race war in unsubstantiated rhetoric against the Venezuelan community. And this comes after months and months of your citizens demanding a ceasefire resolution in Gaza, the most well-documented genocide in history. And yet you sit here with blank expressions on your faces, maybe even a smirk, thinking about a bottle of wine and Netflix to go home in your cushy mansions, while Venezuelan migrants have buildings with holes in the ceilings and rats and infestations due to your refusal to hold the landlords accountable. Shame! I want to read a quote that Mike Kaufman gave in one of these papers. I think this was a Fox News article. Mike Kaufman said, "You've had these massive waves of migrants coming across the border that many of them crossed the border illegally. Were arrested, asked for political asylum, were not adequately vetted, were released into the country, the city of Aurora. We did everything we could to, quite frankly, keep them out of the city because it's not our problem." He said this is a federal problem. Now, number one, you've equated migrants asking for political asylum, which is their legal right, with migrants committing crimes. Those are two very different things, Mike Kaufman. And number two, you have made it abundantly clear that your rationale has nothing to do with gang activity or violence and everything to do with the fact that these people are immigrants and that they are not white. Let's be totally honest. You are white supremacist. You're giving Fox News and Donald Trump this insane rhetoric to start a race war in our city instead of addressing the problems that your citizens are coming here every single council meeting, week after week, to beg you to fix. What is your goal? Are you trying to be the next senator, the next president? Well, let me tell you, being a racist old white man who has rich friends is the most miserable existence that anyone could ask for. Wake up and defend the people in your city instead of your pocketbooks.
Maria McComb. Maria McComb.
I didn't want to see you guys again. I know you guys are used to me from being here before, but I'm back. Members of the Aurora City Council, I'm here today to demand accountability for the lies and fear you have spread. Over the past month, Councilmember Danielle Jurinsky and Mayor Kaufman have fueled an environment of fear for Aurora's Latino community. This fear is not of gangs, but of the dangerous anti-immigrant rhetoric that you as leaders have perpetuated. Councilmember Jurinsky, your family comes from Russia. They're immigrants, and you don't give them the same due that you got. Is that because it's the color of our skin?
You know it.
Because you wrote on your campaign that you had a Fiddler on the Roof story, and that your grandfather came over from Russia and he worked for 10 years to bring your family here. But is that only for your family? It's by spreading lies, you've empowered white supremacists and extremists across the nation to target Venezuelans. But the reality is, most Americans can't tell the difference between this Latin country or that Latin country. So you put us all in danger. You put my son in danger. You don't give me the peace to sleep at night. My son is an American who received a master's degree. He's an architect. He wears his soccer clothes and can be easily mistaken for what you say you fear. When's the last time you went to that neighborhood? When's the last time you talked to those people?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure your family got help when they got here. And to both Jurinsky and Kaufman, you were loud when you spread these lies. You were bold in creating fear. Now I demand you be just as loud as you are in your apology. You must stand up and admit that you made a mistake. The Latino community deserves better. The black community deserves better. Instead of focusing on the stuff that Aurora needs, like the stop killing of unarmed black men. You've killed 25 black men in the last 5 years. Unless you stop killing them, we'll be here every other week.
Natasha Barcelone White.
New faces. I've never had the pleasure to meet you guys, but I'm well known at District 8 and have relationships with City Council. Again, my name is Natasha Barcelone. I'm recognized as a nonprofit organization, even though I'm not a nonprofit organization. I'm a 36-year-old woman that has experienced infertility. My dad passed away to depression at 55. I was a widow at 28 due to suicide. 14-year partner from PJ Watts, California. I know firsthand how corrupt the United States of America is. And I moved to Colorado and started my healing journey. And due to a community like this, people that truly care about mental health and about our well-being as individuals, human rights, I've been able to create impact and a movement. I'm known for an event that's been actively hosted on 14th and Bannock right outside of City Council in Denver called Winning Wednesday, where we give free haircuts and acupuncture and massage and free phones and accountability partners. We do open mic. We sing music. We get 5-star chefs out to the events, and we sit down as a community and we eat, and we give thanks. And I've been able to heal because of the power in community. Well, November of last year, I had to prevent myself from becoming houseless because of how much impact my events make. I've been on the news 7 times. CBS is here tonight. Denver 7 is here. I know most of these people because of the work that myself and other community warriors do. With that being said, I also work alongside the Venezuelans. And sorry, I'm so frustrated with what's going on. What I was wanting to say, in November, I had to go back to Las Vegas where I was raised because I was on the verge of becoming houseless because my events went from 10 people attending to 200 people attending overnight. And I'm not a nonprofit, and I pay for my events and other community warriors that step up and truly care about the community. And over the last 3 years, I've built relationships with Venezuelans. When I went back home, my dad just died. My mom and dad were married 42 years. My mom's not in good shape. It's very triggering for me. So I had to get back to Colorado. I worked my butt off to come up with $2,500 to move into an apartment to get back to the community. You want to know what property I live at? CBZ Management. The ceiling in my bathroom is caving in. I have mice coming from my ceiling. My dog is completely covered in bites. I have no working stove. I have no working oven. I have no AC. The narrative is wrong. Venezuelans are not gang members. People are slumlords, and you guys are...
Peterson?
Katie, can I have the last speaker's information, please?
Okay.
Slave owner much?
Shannon Peterson?
My husband and I bought our first house near the Edge Apartments about 6 years ago. And we didn't experience any problems at all with anybody living at those apartments. It's a community of immigrants and a community of first-time home buyers. My husband is from Mexico, first-generation American. But let me tell you what's happened since migrants have been housed there has been more than problematic, and it's become horrifying. I don't know how many of the people speaking today have had the experience to live where I live, but it's devolved into nightly gunshots. It's gotten better since you guys have been involved since the shooting on the 18th. It's gotten better, so thank you for that. But we're terrified that it's going to go back to what it was before this happened, which was my neighbors and I would call the police, and the police wouldn't come, or they would come later. Sometimes they would come 24 hours later, waking up the person who called them in the middle of the night, further traumatizing them, or they just wouldn't come at all. I would be told, we know it's a huge problem, and we're working on it, and then nothing would happen. We saw the trash pile up, we saw the beer cans everywhere, broken bottles everywhere. Cars would come all night long down the alley. There would be big parties, 20, 30 people, a lot of young men mostly, and young girls. I'm not sure what was going on there, but that's when we started hearing more and more gunshots. The gunshots got so close to my neighbors who are Syrian refugees, there was a shootout right in front of their house. The shooters saw them because they were sitting outside on a Friday night, enjoying a cool summer evening. And when the shooter saw them looking at them, he jumped over their chain link fence and shot a gun in the air in front of their 9-year-old daughter. So I'm telling you, I don't know what it is. I'm not an expert on gangs. I have no idea. But I'm saying there are problems there, and they've been there, and the city knew about it, and the Aurora Police Department knew about it too. And now it's getting attention. And I just want to encourage that as we move forward, the people who are housing migrants, there's wonderful people in this community, certainly, but there are bad ones too. And whoever's providing housing assistance needs to be accountable. You can't just get an apartment for someone, pay their rent 6 months in advance, and then leave them and cross your fingers and hope it works out just fine. We need to make sure that who's living in these apartments is the same person who has the lease.
Madeline Schaffner.
Hi, my name is Madeline. I live in the Aurora
I live in the Aurora Cultural Arts neighborhood, which is the area with the Edge apartments. I know this issue has become very politicized, and I just want to focus more on the safety of our community in general. I have talked to a lot of my neighbors about just the crime in general in our area, ranging from shootings to cars being stolen, but I really just do want to focus right now on just shootings in the area becoming very normalized. It's gone from pretty much hearing them just every week to almost every night. On the 18th of August, there was a massive shooting at the Edge at Lowry Apartments where I heard 50 rapid gunshots that shook my house. I do not want to demonize an entire group of people at all. I don't think it's okay to blame this on a certain group of people. I just want to focus on the people who are directly responsible for tormenting a community, for scaring. Many of the neighbors I've talked to have said they're scared to walk around at night now. They're scared that a bullet is going to go through their windows and kill their kid in the middle of the night. I want to focus on removing dangerous people from our community. It doesn't matter where they're from. It just needs to be addressed. We are tired of being ignored as a neighborhood. We are tired of feeling like our voices don't matter and that our neighborhood doesn't matter. We are working with a lot of neighbors to just talk about crime in general in our neighborhood and what we can do about it, but we are, again, tired of our safety becoming a political issue. There are many wonderful people living in our community, including people at the Edge apartments who also deserve to be protected. They don't deserve to live next to people who are bringing guns into the building and shooting off rounds in the middle of the night. So we want CBZ to be held accountable for the conditions that they've put people through and also for the crime that they have allowed to be committed in our neighborhood. We want the people who are directly responsible for this violence to also be held accountable and not anyone else who is not directly involved. So I just want you, the people who are meant to protect us, to hear our pleas for help. We will not stop pushing for change until constant gunshots are no longer the norm. Robbie DeYoung. Robbie DeYoung.
Okay, this is how you lose friends and gain enemies. I'm looking at the Wizard of Oz. Do you remember the Wizard of Oz? When Dorothy came up and pulled the curtain back, oh, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. I have heard there isn't a problem. There is a problem. There isn't a problem. There is a problem. I've heard this back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. It's ridiculous. This is a twofold problem. Well, actually, it's more than that, but this has been going on at these apartments for years. It hasn't gone on for just a couple of months. It's gone on for years. And the city has known about it. The city has known that these things are going on and putting these people's lives in danger. And it's like, well, if they don't take responsibility, then we'll step in and take over the apartments. Take them over now. Don't wait until more tragedy happens. Now, I am not for one side more than the other side. I'm not. But I have driven in that area after what I was in a meeting with Shannon that just spoke earlier, and I have been in that area for years now, off and on. And I have driven down those streets recently, and I'm seeing sidewalk chop shops on vehicles that have been stolen, and they're just things taken out of one car, put into a cart, things put out of another car, put into a cart, and then the cars are abandoned, and they're not being taken care of. And I'm done with this. I made a decision back in November of last year. I made a decision when I went to the polls I made a freaking mistake.
Holly Chang.
My name is Holly. I live in Aurora, where I'm a public health nurse supervisor. I'm speaking in personal capacity here, but I can't disconnect my nursing training from the impact this council's actions has had on our community. On multiple occasions in the past few years, this council has overlooked the brutal murder of Black community members, most recently Kylan Lewis. A 21 investigation showed nearly half of the individuals who the police department used force against were Black, even though Black residents make up 15% of the population in this city. Video evidence shows Kylan had his hands up and was no threat to the community when he was murdered. Despite this, some members of this council have embarrassingly avoided public grievances from his family. That's far below justice.
Shame.
For justice, he would be here with them now. The public health impacts of state-sponsored violence against Black residents are well documented. A recent June 24 Journal of Urban Health links this violence to preterm birth, something I care deeply about as a maternal child health nurse. According to the article, results confirm the role of fatal police violence as a social determinant of population health outcomes and inequities, including preterm birth. The work of public health officials, including my own, is undermined by the actions of this council. No DEI class or land acknowledgement will absolve you of the harm you have caused. You need to listen, you need to be present, and to act. Reparations need to be made, both to this family and to Aurora residents. This type of excusing and perpetuating racism is interconnected with the comments made about members of Venezuelan gangs. I was just at the building today. I've talked to families. They're now receiving direct local and national violent harassment. Contrary to your words, which are amplified by the media, I didn't need Kevlar or a police escort to go talk to the community. The buildings house infants, toddlers, disabled folks. I've worked in home health care for over 10 years, about actually 13. And these are some of the worst building conditions I've seen in 2 states. Horrible. No one should live in that. These members of the community are not the ones that need to be criminalized here or talked about in this way. It should be the property manager. They're the criminals. Please know what you're doing is exacerbating the problem of increasing toxic stress of these families that can legally seek asylum in this country. I work in this community and I've talked to the people. I don't sit here and spread lies without ever talking to the constituents I'm impacting. Do better or we will vote you out.
Moon Whitstruck.
Yeah, Moon.
Hello. I come before the council today as a concerned citizen. I hope that my kafia doesn't stop you from listening to me before I even start. I want to talk about the Venezuelan migrants, as I have firsthand experience and I can offer that advice to you. A few weeks ago, I heard about a building being condemned where residents were given just 1 day to find new housing. Having experienced homelessness myself, I understand how challenging it is to find housing in Aurora. Many of these residents were migrants, and not only were they facing the housing crisis, they were doing it in a language that was not their own. So anyways, being the person I am, I decided to assess the situation myself. From the start, it was evident who was at fault. When I first visited Nome Street with my dog, several children quickly gathered around to pet her, and I connected with them and their families almost immediately. They were clearly kind, hardworking migrants seeking a better life in America. I hope I can convince you to see the humanity in these people. However, the property showed clear signs of neglect. There was trash piled up from 2 months of uncollected waste just 50 feet away from the property. It was beyond clear that the property manager is the one who was responsible for the situation. What I can't understand is why the city ever decided to put the burden in the situation on the residents rather than the property manager. The neglect is beyond clear. Now, 6 more buildings are under threat by the city for further displacement. The way the city is going about this is putting thousands of residents of Aurora at risk. Shame. The people who are forced to be living here are not the ones to blame. It is the neglectful and abusive property manager. The media and Danielle have taken the story, the lie of Venezuelan gangs taking over these apartment buildings, and they've gone wild. The residents themselves, the Aurora Police Department, the past interim chief of police, all said that there was no gang activity. Please listen to me. These people do not have time to wait another election cycle for this council's support. Please see the humanity in these people. Please help them secure temporary housing. Another thing you should know about me is that I'm a community organizer fighting for Palestine. I see a lot of parallels between what's going on in my own city and what's going on halfway across the world. In both cases, a group of marginalized people is being demonized on no solid grounds to justify their displacement and their further marginalization. In Palestine, we see decades of dehumanization of Palestinians take hold in Israel, and now according to the Pew Research Center, 73% of Israelis think that the destruction of Gaza is about right or not enough. If this council wants me to believe in the demonization of Venezuelan migrants in the same way that the Israeli Zionist population has completely accepted the annihilation of the Palestinian ethnicity, then this council does not represent my needs. I also wanted to say a thank you to Ruben Medina and Crystal Murillo for your support with this issue so far. If you have been influenced by my speech, please talk to your colleagues. Please learn how they have helped these innocent people. Thousands of families, thousands of people are living on the streets already from Nome Street. We were able to get them hotels for a month, and that was it. There are children, those same children who loved my dog so much, who were so sweet to me, who learned how to Google Translate talk with me because they are so kind, and that's just how they are. They're on the street because of this council's behavior.
Mayor, council members, we've reached our 1-hour limit and we have 19 individuals left to speak.
Motion is in order if council wishes to extend.
Mayor, so moved.
Councilmember Murillo.
Councilmember Medina will second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Murillo, seconded by Councilmember Medina to extend the time. Does it have to be a time certain?
It's up to them. It's up to the.
What is your motion?
To allow the remaining 19 speakers to speak. It said 19, right?
Yes.
To allow all the speakers.
Mayor Kaufman.
Discussion? Seeing no further discussion, call for the question on the motion.
Mayor.
Mayor votes no.
Councilmember Bergen. Oh, thank you. I got yours. Councilmember Gardner. City Attorney, I just want to ask you a question. Does this require 6 votes or a majority of those in attendance?
It's a majority of those in attendance.
Okay, so the motion does pass with 5 yes votes and 4 no votes.
Thank you for doing your
Surprising.
Okay, Jordan Scott. Jordan Scott.
I was no.
Okay, Scott Shamblin.
Good evening, Aurora City Council. My name is Scott Shamblin, but my street name is Lil Shambles. I am a card-carrying member of the Triple Vax Gang, and we used to distribute black market COVID vaccines. When Walgreens would cut off our clients at 4, we'd get them more boosters. But this was usually just saline because we didn't want them getting mysterious blood clots and heart attacks. Today is especially nostalgic for me because it marks the 3-year anniversary of Biden's vaccine mandate, and my clients are still more cognizant than him and Kamala combined. But the real issue here is that the families in my territory of North Aurora cannot afford to pay two gangs for protection at the same time. And I'm not safe to go in those areas because the other gangs think of it as a turf war, and my Spanish is not good enough to communicate with the less than legal migrant newcomers. I know the Aurora police chief said there's no gang takeover, but if that were true, I wouldn't be here today. And so I have a few thoughts on how to smooth things over with the people of the city of Aurora. The residents are currently paying for protection so they can keep their stuff and exercise the privilege of not getting beaten and kicked out of their homes and forced to the streets. If we were to gentrify this concept, it might be more acceptable to the national media. Instead of calling it paying for protection, let's call it property tax. If you think about it, it's really the same concept, just for poor renters. I am the original occupier of that land, so much so I have a native sticker on the back of my Subaru. I will now read a land acknowledgement that you should read before all city meetings. We recognize the challenges the Native groups face to habitat loss, climate change, and gentrification, and hedge funds buying up the homes on the market. This acknowledgement serves as a reminder of our ongoing fight to protect these habitats from becoming a deserted wasteland filled with microplastics. I also wish to acknowledge and honor the wildlife inhabitants of this region, the majestic elk, the hookers, the Subaru driving lesbians, and the junkies as the traditional stewards of the land where Aurora now stands. In closing, my final solution, the city of Aurora simply needs to begin distributing cocaine and hookers on the street. Flood the market, drive the price down, and cause the newcomers to find gainful employment, and I think the taxpayers will agree with my logic and nominate Kamala Harris and Governor Jared Polis to be the first hookers deployed on this humanitarian mission. Thank you for your time.
That haircut's on you, dude.
Kirk Mazanares.
Vote Democrat. I know. We can You waited a little too long. You waited a little too long. You did that, Danielle.
Here we are again. My voice is really bad, so I'm going to get some backup towards the end. Trash, trash, trash. Boy, it's building up in the city of Aurora, starting right here with crazy Danny J. Welcome to the shit show. Welcome to the trash pile. If you wanted to do something decent, if you wanted to do something worthwhile, you would have hired a trash company to come out there and clean the trash and charge that goddamn slumlord. You want to do something? Do that. Instead of get on Fox News and run your crazy rhetoric. We had a police chief. We had a damn good police chief in Heather Morris. And why'd you let her go? You ran her out of town. a shameless person. I'm going to let the youngest, strongest voice that I could think of finish up my words for me.
We will not forget.
We will not forget.
Aurora, Colorado, the world is watching you. Despite your attempts to distort the truth, despite your attempts to create chaos and drama, shame, shame, shame on you. The world is watching you. The world and America and Colorado and Aurora, the people of Aurora know the truth. And we see you. We see through you. And time is running out for you. We will not forget. We will not forget. We will not forget. Fight! 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 Fight!
What's it?
Now let's have a moment of silence for the kids that are suffering at 12th and Dallas. And let's think about maybe getting some trash trucks out there tomorrow to clean up the trash.
Yeah.
You got the power to do that. If there's anything that you can do, you can get a trash truck out there and clean that mess up and clean it up every day and charge that slumlord for it.
Yeah.
Let's think about the kids at 12th and Dayton, 12th and Dallas, 12th and Dayton, same thing. They're all there. They're all suffering. Why don't you think about the kids and what you caused, this damage that you caused? So let's have a moment of silence until my 3 minutes is up.
Joey Friedman.
I'm speaking a little bit off topic. I wanted to come in and speak on behalf of our organization, NNAO Colorado, just to bring some awareness of what we do. And it's an open forum for that. So NNAO provides housing and services to men and women in addiction recovery and who are committed to reentry in the community following justice involvement. In addition to a monitored sober housing program, leveraging certified peer support specialists as coaches, mentors, and house managers, NNAO provides on-site group individual therapy, case management, medication assessment, and management through its wellness hub. We've got over 220 beds in Aurora, Denver, Englewood, and in addition to partnerships with Arapahoe County Pretrial, the State Forensic Navigators, Bridges, and others, we admit many walk-ins every day who are just individuals who say they want a fresh start and they want to try our program. So we just want to take this opportunity to reintroduce ourselves to you. Many of you know of us, some of you do not. Since October 2021, we've been operating in Northwest Aurora. We started with one building, but now we've got four. We're in 9089, 9121, 9151, and 9191 East 14th Avenue, so we're right there. And we hope to continue expanding our capacity, working with Aurora and expanding our partnerships with the City of Aurora. So putting it out there, love to provide our contact information and love to tour any of you through to see our program. And thank you very much.
Jeff Klein. Jeff Klein.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to come speak. I am a property manager, property owner here in Aurora. I am a property manager and a property owner that's accountable. I am here, we live here, we work here. I'm asking for the city now to be accountable. We need help. We've had issues with tenants that have been forced out. We've had issues with violence. We've had issues with guns. I'm not here to single out any group because that's impossible. What we need to single out is the cause. It's problematic. What we need to single out is asking the city for help. We had a tenant that was forced out of his apartment. It was taken over. I don't know by who. Could have been anybody. I know the tenant is missing. I know when we went to find the tenant, we found barrels of gasoline being sold, had to move those out at great cost and great expense. And I'm here because I care about the tenants that we serve. And I'm here because we hear from our tenants. Who we don't hear from is the city. Who we don't hear from is the police department. We've had issues where we've called 911, where we've reported guns being waved around, fights going on. At 8:30 in the morning, I get a call from the police department at 8 o'clock that night to tell me they're at the building and nothing's going on. No kidding. So the issues that we have in front of us affect every single human being. This is not, as many have tried to make it, a political problem as much as it is more a human problem. People need to be treated as human beings. There needs to be solutions in partnership. So I stand before you with appreciation for at least having the opportunity to speak. But I also would invite any public figure, anybody who wants to come spend an hour in my office and talk about solutions, not blame, not focusing on individual groups, not focusing on individual people, focusing on what the problem is and what we can do together in partnership to solve those problems. Thank you.
Alberta Simmons.
Hey, Katie, can you get me his information?
Yes.
Giving honor to God, first of all. Well, Aurora, we've come to the end of the road. On Monday, September 23rd, in Division A, courtroom 505, at 9 a.m., the trial begins for Preston Nunn III against the Aurora Police Department. We finally get our day in court. We hope that the city of Aurora, the citizens, and the people who are at the sound of my voice will show the world, because the world will be watching this trial. And at the end of the day, just because Preston is not dead doesn't mean he doesn't get justice. I've told you all over and over since I've been fighting this battle for 3 years, and yes, we've asked you all for help, City Council, you didn't give it to us, but we've been praying, and we know prayers get answered. At the end of the day, we are not dogs, black people. We're not dogs, we're not menace to society, we ain't niggers. We're proud people, and we want to be treated like proud people. And we're sick and tired of you all shooting us when we don't have it, when we're not armed. You shouldn't have killed that man, Kylan Lewis, but you did, and you're going to have to pay for that.
Yeah, we are.
But wait. You're also going to have to pay for beating the hell out of Preston Nunn III. Now listen, I don't know, you all have an opportunity to set precedent. The city of Aurora does. Right now the world thinks y'all hate black people. And I know y'all do. But if you don't, on September 23rd at 9 a.m., you all come back with a verdict that's unprecedented, that shows the world that you all do care about black people, that y'all going to get tired of shooting and killing us, y'all tired of beating us to the ground, you're going to do the right thing on September 23rd. I ask that this community do the right thing.
Alexandria Deal. Alexandria Deal. Nicholas Walker.
Thank you. Good evening. First, giving all honor to God that I serve, I want to recognize tonight for a brief second the Honorable Tuskegee Airman John Mosley and his wife Edna, who served as at-large on this council for years. That gave, both of them, gave their lives to justice. And so I'm here on behalf of them in their absence, and the family wishes this council to do the right thing for the right reason. My subject is information discrimination. I'm asking everybody within the sound of my voice to reach out to me at Nicholas Walker, info@vetvestgroup.com. And that's vet as in veteran, vest as in investment, group.com. Or call me at 720-325-4382. And let's come together on one accord. This is a research of since July of obvious, overt discrimination with regards to distributing information that is in the public sphere. Let me say that my family, the Walker family, has been in Aurora since 1979, and we've witnessed the changes in this council, but the issues remain the same. The faces have changed, the information remains the same. And so it's a matter of hiding and discriminating against the sharing of information that belongs to the public sphere. I've been serving on several committees, boards. I'm an honorable discharge veteran. I have spent my time, a good 60 years, in the community as far as paying taxes and trying to do the right thing for the right reason. So the very chairs that you sit on belong in part to my efforts as a taxpayer. And these people behind me and the people that are at home that are not here are taxpayers as well. So we demand our respect. And we ask you to pay attention when we're saying, listen to us and give us the information that we need in order to make decisions for our own families. So I'm here to charge the city with information discrimination. Your policy, your non-discrimination policy, says that the city is no, I should say no persons be excluded participating in, be denied the benefits of the city. And so I'm asking you to read what I said and act accordingly within the next 10 days.
Williams Conover. Williams Conover. Justina Medinsky.
I'm sorry, let me set my clock. All right, Mayor and City Council. 2 weeks ago, I raised concerns regarding issue with the Aurora Municipal Court, particularly involving immigration and court appearances. I wanted to highlight it that we were facing problems with undocumented immigrants, not migrants. There is a significant difference between the two, immigrants and immigrants, and I'm pretty sure the city attorney can explain that. In the recent weeks, there has been a great deal of inconsistencies information from our mayor. Seems like, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, you kind of act like a little bit like a weather. Either hot or cold, windy or calm, rain or dry, making decisions based on whichever the wind blows. These inconsistencies, a lack of support for the community, are not helping address the serious issues which we're facing, including immigration, challenges in Aurora, gang-related crimes, once again. I also must highlight the death of Mr. Lewis, still unresolved. And I think we have to give a closure to the family at some extent. This needs to be done. I mean, there's no question about it. They deserve to some kind of form of, I don't know, just maybe a conversation 101, something needs to be done. Because I feel like this cannot be continued, because they're going to be coming here every single 2 weeks, and it's going to raise to the bigger problems. City Councilor Rinsky, I know you've been very controversial, just like me, but I want to really say thank you that you're addressing the issue which is ongoing with the gangs or with the specific group of the people, because I feel like calling you delusional, I disagree. Because in any type of, I think so, what we're calling rumor, there's some type of the truth. And I think that you have enough balls to come to the news and say it how it is, because this is my life. That's what I do. I make it people say it how it is, and I feel you, and I understand, and I think you make a good point. Because our governor, once again, likes to go to fairs and likes to go to parties, and he's asleep in an office. And we have one city council who I feel like she doesn't have any backup here. She only comes in on she comes to the news and she speaks how it is. I have a platform. There's almost 2 million people, hold on, 2 million people view on this. And let me tell you something. Everybody agree there is a problem. There's a major problem. You know what people are saying? Close the border. Get them out of here. That's what it is. This is nothing personal. I'm an immigrant as well, but I came here in a legal way. Not I didn't cross the border. Stop. Quiet. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm sorry, but I agree. It's absolutely right. That's exactly. I'm sorry. That's right. I'm controversial, not apologetic, and I don't really care. I'm sorry, but I have to support Mr. Rinsky. There is a problem we have to address. There is a constantly, I have messages nonstop. Thank you.
Tristan Hust.
Mayor, I have a huge problem with a comment that I just heard. The last speaker, after she was done speaking, the crowd told her to go back to where she came from. I have a huge problem with that, and I find that extremely disrespectful.
Let the protocol is to let them speak first, and then I'll recognize you.
Well, I think we should go virtual.
Mayor, and just for the record, we don't know if that was said or who said it.
Okay, come on. Please proceed.
Shall I? Our community is hurting. Today marks the 109th day that a family here in our own city of Aurora has to feel an absence, a void of nothing where there was once a father, a husband, a son, a friend, and a brother. 109 days ago, Kylan Lewis was shot while he was tuning up the sound system in his car, an activity my own brothers do regularly, when he was come up on by members of the Aurora Police Department. This, it would turn out, was his death sentence. He was unarmed, holding only a cell phone in his hand as he complied with the various orders barked at him. Yet that did not stop Officer Michael Deek from becoming the judge, jury, and executioner of Kylan Lewis, denying him not only his right to a trial, but a right to life. APD claims to protect and serve, but have earned the negative reputation they now have as a bloodthirsty, racist murderers. The fact that Michael Deek is on paid administrative leave is sickening when Aurora citizens know that he should be in jail. Now without any input of the public that is at risk of execution by a militarized police force at any given moment, a new police chief is hired.
Todd Chamberlain, formerly of LAPD, has seen his own history fraught with racism both within their department between officers and in the brutality that LAPD has been guilty of in the decades since, not least of which included the beating of Rodney King. Chamberlain's division was guilty of routinely breaking antennas from police vehicles and interfering with camera audio recordings, which are used to guard against racial profiling by officers. With APD's history of documented racial profiling, why should our mayor and city manager deem the man previously denied a position by 2 different departments for being too racist? You think he's the man for the job? Here in Aurora, where we have one of the most diverse communities in the state? All of this at a time when out-of-state slumlords can cry gang activity because they want to evict the low-income migrant families here. Dozens of families were made homeless from 1568 Nome Street. These are families with children, working parents, and a need to try to survive. School started the week they evicted them, and they gave them 6 days after negotiations from 24 hours to find a place to live. Being a parent with access to ample resources is difficult. Imagine what being a parent is like when you're having your door banged on by SWAT teams. I live in the neighborhood that has been going viral this past week or so, and I can tell you that this place is full of love and life, laughter and tears, families just like any other, but with fewer resources, and otherized because they speak a different language. I was one of the many that were there on 1568 Nome to help those families move what they could to where they could. What I saw was indeed tragic, but the perk wasn't the vague Venezuelan gang myth perpetrated by lying city councilwoman Danielle Jurinsky. It was the comically villainous slumlords of CBZ that allowed conditions to deteriorate to this level. Danielle, I hope you lose sleep. I also hope we hold the slumlords accountable and do something to prevent them from being able to own anything or any land in our fair state.
KDOT. KDOT.
City of Aurora, I have a definition I want you to guess. I'm going to read it out to you, and maybe you can tell me. A brain disorder that slowly destroys memory and thinking skills, eventually the ability to carry out the simplest tasks. That would describe Mike Kaufman. Oh, I'm sorry, that was Alzheimer's. My bad. Sir, either you have Alzheimer's or that hairline of yours is messing up your thinking, because you keep going back and forth as far as these imaginary Venezuelan gangs with the imaginary Hell's Angels that's supposed to be coming out here and saving the day. But anyway, and shame on you, bald-headed lady, for denying our First Amendment right to speak. Stephanie Hancock, or should I call you Candace Owens? But anyway, Danielle, Miss Piggy, you keep fucking up. You just been fucking up ever since you've been here, ma'am. You just don't get it right at all. 109 days, ladies and gentlemen, that my cousin have been murdered by this senseless idiot, Michael Deek. I prefer him to call him Michael Dick because he's a dickhead, and you guys are covering it up. City attorney that refuses to release the picture of this idiot. City attorney. As a matter of fact, this is how much transparency that this city has. Even the city attorney doesn't even have his name on the thing right here. Transparency, huh? Yeah, none here. And Jason, I'm gonna tell you right now, that sneaky shit, you did it again. You are good. You hired a bitch. He didn't even want to say hi to the people. You hired a scary ass bitch. Where are you, Chief? Are you underneath the table? Where are you? Come out. Where you at? Are you hiding underneath this sergeant right here? Wake up. 109 days. Jason, I expect you to rush along this internal investigation. Do I make myself clear? Thank you.
Aaron Futrell.
Did you guys hear? JJ's bar sells alcohol to minors, so that's long shots. Oh wait, that's how a whisper campaign works. Mr. Rinsky, a whisper campaign started World War II. Of all people of Jewish faith, you should know that. And you started this hysterical hysteria against an innocent immigration community. This past weekend, CSU honored my grandfather for his contributions, for basically overcoming obstacles and being successful. What do you think this migrant community is doing over there on 12th and Dallas and 12th and Nome? When Jason Crow ran 2 years ago, I was in that neighborhood. I walked in that neighborhood. Gangs hadn't taken it over. It was a slumlord. It was trash. We decided we were going to skip that apartment because it was unsafe then. It wasn't a gang takeover. It was CBZ management. Going on Fox News and demonizing these people, that's not what my grandmother sat up here on this council for. That's not what my grandfather fought for. Right now, they want to be peaceful in their grave. Right now, they're roaming. I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed. I want to be up here talking about mundane topics, like fixing the light at Moline, like I've been saying for 120 days before before APD innocently killed Kylan Lewis. Justice for Kylan Lewis, period. Period. I still want that street light, but more than I want that street light, I want justice. And hiring this man, this racist man for APD, who even the police chief, who has his own controversial racist comments, is saying is militaristic, that's scary. And the fact that he's not here to shake hands with community again, and he's talking about he wants to be part of community policing. No, Acevedo, when he got off the freaking plane, met with a family that had just lost an innocent child to murder. Heather Morris was in community. This guy, let's change the time to 3 p.m. to my swearing in so community can't speak and meet me? And that's not concerning? What's concerning is that you guys are liberating this and saying it's okay. It's not okay. Like Ayante said 2 weeks ago, not just no, hell no.
Hell.
Okay, and then we have 6 callers on the call-in line.
LaRonda, you have 3 minutes. Go ahead. Hi. My message is to the community and all my sisters and brothers all over the world. I want you to hear my message. It has been 109 heartbreaking days since my unarmed son, Kylan Lewis, was murdered by the Aurora police. I still wake up every day hoping that this nightmare will end, that somehow the city will step up and deliver the justice my son and our community deserve. But instead, we've been met with silence and the same broken system that devalues our Black and brown lives. As a mother, my pain runs deep, but my determination to seek justice runs even deeper. I'm speaking here today not just as Kylan's mother, but as a mother who knows that you, whether you are black, brown, white, Asian, indigenous, share the same fears for our children. You worry about their safety, about their dangers, the dangers they face in a city that has turned a blind eye to our suffering. The false narratives spread by Aurora's leadership have made this pain even worse, fueling fear and division, especially between our Black and Venezuelan communities. But we are not enemies. Don't get it mistaken. We are not enemies. My heart aches for the Venezuelan mothers who, like me, fear for their children's futures in this hostile environment. The lies being told about gang takeovers in the Aurora community are nothing but more than an attempt to pit us against each other, to shift the blame from the real problem, Aurora's failure to protect and serve all of its people. The city leadership would rather spread hate than to take responsibility for the violence they allowed to continue. I'm asking you to stand with us today in this fight. We must stand unitedly, Black, Venezuelans, and all of us who demand justice for our children. This fight isn't just about Kylan. It's about every mother, every father, and every family that has suffered because of this city's negligence and indifference. Our children deserve better. Aurora has failed us all, but together we can demand the justice, accountability, and change that we desperately need. We cannot let them divide us, not for a second. We must unite to show them that we will no longer be ignored. We will no longer accept the lies, the violence, and the fear. Please join me, the Aurora community, and all the community all over the world, all my brothers and sisters in every country. Let's show Aurora that we stand together, and we will not stop until justice is served for Kylan and for all of our children.
Your time is up.
It's a shame that.
Laura, go ahead. You have 2 minutes.
Oh, hi. First of all, I want to well, she has just lost a son because he is Black with the violence of the Aurora PD, with the complicity of the city council, and for her to continue to stand with all of us and be a mother to all of us. I am so honored, and shame on all of you that cannot see and take that stance when you do not know what it is like to have worry about your children because of the color of their skin. I know not everyone here is white, but I am referring to white folks here at this point. As you know, I'm Laura Gonzalez. I identify as a Maya Mopanita indigenous woman. Someone here earlier said that they wanted to demand to get people out of our communities who are terrorizing us. So why don't we start with Mike Kaufman, who not only terrorizes innocent Iraqis and an entire Arab male community decades after that, but also our Black and immigrant communities in this local city. Why don't we just get him out then? Let's start with him. I am here to also demand justice for the cold and white supremacist murder of Kylan Lewis. Today is the 109th day where you took Kylan away from his children, his better half, his mother, his siblings, and all the people that love them. It is also the 109th day that this murderer, Michael Dick, is on paid leave. Not only is he getting paid to rest at home, but you're abusing our tax dollars to pay a salary to a murderer. I am here to speak directly to City Manager Jason Batchelor to fire the police chief for his lack of accountability in the murder of Kylan Lewis, to stop paying Kylan's murder while he's being investigated for murder, because guess what? None of us would get paid if we're accused for a crime, even when many times we're accused for crimes that we don't even commit. And to get him to pay back all the money to the family. I am also here to demand an independent investigation in Kylan's murder. Not only is your PD notorious for the abuse of power and playing the executioner role against Black and brown bodies in our Aurora community, but they're also notorious for evicting poor people, immigrant people, the elders, people with disabilities out of their homes. This shouldn't be a police's job. Why are you not criminalizing poverty? Why do you have a monopoly on what crime is? You should criminalize poverty and not the fact that people are claiming their legal right to claim asylum here. The lies that you have spewed up around the Venezuelan immigrants is just completely disgusting, and also they have been debunked. And you know what else has been debunked? The beheaded babies killed by Hamas. I am here to also demand Daniel Jurinsky to resign her position as city council member for the lies that she has perpetuated in these councils and in the interviews around October 19th. Every time the media and people like you, Daniel, lie, a whole family is gone in Palestine. You got blood in your hands. Children are truly beheaded. Palestinian children are the ones who are getting beheaded. You do not deserve to have that seat when you yourself are a settler in Turtle Island. That's why you're holding on to the Israel Zionist racist dream.
Anna, go ahead. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. First, I want to acknowledge and stand in solidarity with the family of Kylan Lewis as we await the results of the investigation in hopes of justice and accountability. I'm here to address another matter that has been severely impacting our community. The large gatherings, trespassing, and noise disturbances in parking lots near Iliff and Havana every single weekend this summer between the hours of 8:30 p.m. and 7 a.m. Every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night, we're subjected to a relentless barrage of noise from vehicles with customized, amplified speakers and synchronized lights, creating a chaotic environment that is not just a nuisance, but a threat to our peace and safety. What's even more alarming is that these disturbances often include gunfire. This is happening in our neighborhoods, right where our families live and try to sleep. Despite the numerous reports made to APD and City Council notification, the problem persists and has only gotten worse. Local businesses have posted no trespassing signage and hired private security to no avail. These gatherings persist, and the parking lots are left littered with trash and human waste that businesses have to clean up. If APD even responds to these calls, it's oftentimes hours later with no real recourse other than having the crowd disperse only to reconvene later. The lack of effective response to these parties, coupled with the persistent sleep deprivation, leaves our community feeling angry, vulnerable, and unheard. This issue demands urgent and innovative solutions before someone gets killed. Council members, we need you to think outside the box to effectively address this growing problem. If council can allocate time and resources to retrieve shopping carts, then council has the resources to address this problem so entire neighborhoods can live in peace. We know APD is in the midst of a staffing crisis that negatively impacts our community. We must find creative ways to recruit and retain officers who, number one, reflect the communities that they serve, number two, don't shoot unarmed Black people, and number three, provide transparency and resources that protect and uplift everyone in our community. This situation will only continue to deteriorate if left unresolved. We need immediate action, and we need long-term strategies that will ensure our community is viable and safe for everyone.
Your time is up.
I urge you to take the necessary steps to address this matter. Thank you.
Bill, you're next. Go ahead. You have 3 minutes. Ed, you have 3 minutes.
Good evening, City Council. My name is Bill Farber, and I would just like to place a bit of a concern with the actual fact that we have roving gangs of Venezuelan migrants. If they were here, to claim asylum, as so they claim. Why were they not able to claim asylum in Guyana, Brazil, or Colombia, which neighbor Venezuela? How about through their trek of Central America when they went through Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, El Salvador, Honduras, Belize, and Mexico? They didn't stop and claim asylum. They're not here because of any hardships in their home country. They're here as economic migrants taking advantage of taxpayer-funded assistance. So slumlords like, what was his name? Zev Baumgarten, the notorious landlord who just sold that piece of garbage property that he has been keeping in disrepair since he bought it. And he's done it in New York, as other people have previously mentioned during their public discourse. And he's known for doing this thing. He constantly has his apartments in states of disrepair. And it's always people like Baum, Witz, Berg, and Stein every single time who are bringing these people here. And instead of them claiming asylum in neighboring countries, they come here because they get promised free money that these disgusting, ratty slumlords will come in and then take that government assistance, that financial assistance in terms of rent payments, while they are on the back end funding this illegal mass migration into the United States. There's no reason for these gangbangers to be in Colorado, not one. I mean, our current president and soon-to-be former president, Joe Biden, is quoted as saying that whites will be an absolute minority in America. That's the source of our strength. Now, as a European American, I don't see how replacing the native population in any way, shape, or form is going to strengthen the country when we have these people who aren't helping the economy. They're here collecting free tax dollars that we all spend and put into the system, and they're spending that on weed, cocaine, hookers. They're buying guns. They're shooting each other. They're shooting children. And we already have a big enough problem with violence in the streets. I mean, look at Kylene. There's no reason for him to be shot. 15% of the population in Aurora is African American, and half of that would be about 7.5% would be black men. How many black men have been killed by the police in the last 5 years? I think it's over 100 now. And what are we doing to stop this? I mean, I know they commit 62% of the violent crimes, but there's no reason for the police to go out and just randomly shoot unarmed black men. We should be taking care of this migrant crisis first, and then we can take care of the crime problem. Thank you.
Nora, you're next. Go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Nora Killingsworth. I am a resident of Ward 4. I am also calling about the noise complaint issue at Iliff and Havana. This is an ongoing problem. It usually occurs Thursday through Sunday, sometimes during the week. I have a 2-month-old at home that I'm not able to sleep much as well, but with this constant ongoing noise, I can't sleep even when she is sleeping. It's blasting music. There is lots of drinking involved, so public intox is going on, and this is affecting hundreds to thousands of people. I gathered today with about 10 other people, and we conducted a news interview, so this will be coming on to Channel Denver 31 News tonight, so I hope you guys are all able to watch that. But APD is doing nothing about this at all. City Council apparently is doing nothing about it either. But this is, they're committing all kinds of crimes out here. So I just want to know what the APD is doing. I get told that they're basically, taking care of other issues, other life-threatening issues, that they don't have the capability to get out and take care of this problem. I mean, it's blasting music. Again, I think a woman was saying earlier from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. And when the police do come out, they may be dispersed for a little bit, but they come back and gather again in the same spot. And it's just, it's a complete disturbance, and it's just destroying everyone's sleep. So I just want to know where exactly our tax dollars are going and disturbing the pieces of crime, and nobody is doing anything about it. Thank you.
You have failed Kylan Lewis for 109 days. That's right. So in the name of Kylan Lewis, we demand that you apologize to the
Mr. Virtual.
It's time
order?
Stand by, Mayor.
Oh, we ready?
Wait. We need a motion to go to a virtual.
Motion is in order.
Mayor,
Mayor Pro Tem.
Motion to go virtual.
It's been moved by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by
Hancock.
Second by Councilmember Hancock to go into virtual. Do we have to take a roll call vote, or is there just by objection?
Just majority. So
Well, we just
she needs to take the registered vote. That's right. Yeah.
Okay. Discussion. Seeing no discussion, call for the question on the motion.
Mayor Kaufman?
Yes.
straight out of rules for radicals.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner?
He was having trouble with his internet.
Would you like to vote yes or no for going virtual? Yes.
Sure.
Yeah. Yes. Councilmember Medina?
Yep.
Yes. Councilmember Sundberg?
Yep.
Okay, the motion passes to conduct the meeting virtually.
Mayor,
Okay.
motion to adopt the agenda.
Been moved by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by
Jurinsky.
Councilmember Jurinsky to adopt the agenda. Discussion. Seeing no discussion, call for the question on the motion to adopt the agenda.
Mayor Kaufman?
Mayor Buches.
Councilmember Medina? Councilmember Medina?
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner? The motion passes to adopt the agenda.
Number 10, consent calendar. All right, motions, item number 10C1. Motion is in order.
Mayor, motion to approve item 10C1.
Moved by Councilmember Jurinsky, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Zavlanek. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, call for the question on the adoption of the consent calendar on motions, item number 10C1.
Mayor Kaufman?
Mayor Buches.
Councilmember Medina?
Yes.
The motion passes to adopt the consent calendar for motions.
Consent calendar on resolutions and ordinances, item number 11A1 to 11B6. Motion is in order.
Motion to approve items 11A1 through 11B6.
Been moved by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by Councilmember Bergen to approve item number 11A1.
Mayor,
Yeah, oh, Councilmember Moreno.
can I pull 11A7?
11A7.
Mayor, do we have to allow that, or can we have 6 votes to approve the consent calendar?
No, that's part of the rules with the consent calendar is any member can pull an item.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, so, let's see, so I think we already
Mayor,
moved in second.
motion to approve 11A 1 through 6 and then B1 through 6.
Okay. Discussion? Oh, who's the second? Councilmember Bergen was the second. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, call for the question on the adoption of the consent calendar on resolutions and ordinances. Item number 11A1 to 11A6 and 11B1 to 11B6. Call for the question.
The motion passes to adopt the consent calendar with item 11A7 removed.
Will Clerk now please read the title to item number 11A7?
Item 11A7 is Resolution 2024-119, accepting the plan for transitioning the prosecution of domestic violence cases out of the Aurora Municipal Court as presented and other related matters.
Brief presentation by staff. Pete.
Mayor Zavlanek, do you want to?
Sure. We've gone over this a bunch of times. This is the resolution that would require the city to no longer write domestic violence cases into municipal court effective June 30th of 2025, to come to council with a plan before the end of Q1 next year that would be worked out between city staff and all of the relevant stakeholders to detail the transition. One of the things, again, I'll just stress is that for the victims who are in, or any of the cases that are in the system up until that date, there would be no change to the way that we would handle it. It would just be going forward from July 1st, 2025 forward. They would be written into county court as they currently are in every other city minus Lakewood, Westminster, and Denver.
Mayor,
Councilor Hardjewski.
call for the question.
We need a motion and a second first.
Mayor, motion to approve item 11A7.
Second.
Moved by Councilmember Jersey, second by Mayor Pro Tem. Discussion?
Question.
Okay, now you have to do okay, so we just did that. Now you're doing the motion for call for the question.
Yep.
Yeah.
That needs a second.
Second.
It's seconded by Mayor Hancock.
Thank you.
You're also mayor now.
We were close friends, I'm sorry. Michael Hancock. Okay, Stephanie Hancock.
I hope my colleagues.
But there's a
I
relationship.
hope my colleagues do not support this
I'm sorry,
that's being
it's
played
a
out.
non-debatable motion.
I'm just adding a
Call
comment.
for
I'm
the
not
question.
debating. I'm making a comment. This is
Call for the
absolutely ridiculous
Call for the
and
question.
petty and punitive. Danielle's upset.
Call for the
so
question is a
now
non-debatable motion.
No one else is able to speak is what's happening.
Call for the question is a non-debatable motion.
Not debating.
Mayor?
Call for the question. Mayor votes yes.
The motion passes with 5 yes votes, 4 no votes. Call for the question and vote on the main motion.
So, sorry, call for the question, ending debate requires 2/3.
Okay, very well.
Of those present or 2/3 of the tax?
2/3 of those present.
Yeah. Okay. So that's not 2/3.
That's
Okay. Are we short then? Okay. Discussion.
Yeah. Sorry. No celebration over here.
So Katie, what was the total?
It was 9 people voting.
And I
9
actually was gonna ask you if
I'm
we
sorry,
had, go ahead.
Just let me make sure we're in the same place. There was 9 that voted. We needed 6 yes for it to pass.
And 5.
And there were 5. Okay, so
I hit no, like I just did no on my thing and meant to hit yes. Oh, so we have 6.
So you are, Francois.
So what would
You're
be the total?
ending.
6 then. That's what she
There's
just said.
no discussion. You're okay with this? You're okay with her throwing a
okay.
fit
So
and
where are we at
bullying you
right
once
now?
again, Francois?
So
I'm doing just fine.
6.
6
That is
voted
very disappointing.
in affirmative, and it passed.
Okay. See, will the clerk now
I was
please
gonna
read the
ask if
title
you talked to the
to item number
county.
Mayor,
11B1?
we have to vote on the main motion.
I'm sorry, do we, okay, now we're voting. Okay, now we're voting on the item. And there's no discussion. Very well. I'll call for the
They
question.
asked you to push it back. That's what I was gonna ask, if you were gonna push it back, because that was our last conversation.
Call for the question. We're voting.
Voting on 11A7.
Mayor, motion to approve item
We're
11A7.
voting on 11A7. You already made the motion and it did.
Yeah, nothing's popping up.
Okay, so we just,
I know, it's being described.
okay. All right.
Councilmember Hancock?
Oh, I'm sorry. Pushing it.
Okay. The motion passes with 7 yes votes and 1 no vote.
Will the clerk now please read the title for item number 11B1? What's it?
Item 13A is introduction of ordinance 2024-61.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Updating section 130
Okay, will the clerk now please read the title to item number 13A?
Item 13A is introduction of ordinance 2024-61, updating section 130 of the city code related to the sales and use tax simplification system, GIS database, and other tax-related matters.
Brief presentation by staff.
Good evening, Mayor and members of council. This is Jeff Edwards, Manager of Tax in the Finance Department. Item 13A, tax administration updates and clarification, contains the following changes to the city's tax code. The first update will align the city's hold harmless provision with Senate Bill 24-023. A hold harmless provision provides relief for businesses when they have been assessed a tax through an audit if they did not collect the tax that's solely because of an incorrect information in the state's GIS database. Second, references to the state statutes were updated to conform with changes related to Senate Bill 24-025 for protest procedures. And third, clarification is added to sections 130.75, sell of business, to clarify the taxable amount when there is tainted personal property included in the sale, updated the statute of limitations language when a notice of audit is issued to include all returns filed in the previous 36 months, and lastly, a minor change to section 13080, notice of tax lien, that the finance director is not mandated to file a lien when return is not paid within 5 days after the due date.
Questions of staff? Seeing none, motion is in order.
Mayor, motion to approve item 13A.
Moved by Councilmember Jurenski, seconded by?
Mayor, second.
Seconded by Councilmember Lawson to approve item number 13A. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, call for the question on the approval of item number 13A.
Councilmember Stenberg.
Oh, excuse me, I was in the Bahamas for a second. Yes.
The motion passes with 8 yes votes.
Now, please, with the title to item number 13B.
Item 13B is introduction of ordinance 2024-62, removing the sunset provision on ordinance number 2022-47 related to mandatory minimum penalties for the offense of retail theft under the city code and to amend other sections of the city code for continuity and structure.
Councilmember Jurenski.
We've talked about this several times. It is to remove the sunset on the ordinance.
Questions of the sponsor? Motion is in order.
Mayor, can I say a couple things on that?
Mr. Schulte.
The thing that's changed, Pete Schulte, Public Safety Client Manager, the thing that's changed in study session is there were some concerns reported from the prosecution division of the city attorney's office that the 3-day language that was being used, that there was some manipulation, perhaps by some of the municipal judges, allowing people to go in like at 11 p.m. on a Friday and then getting out at like 1 a.m. on a Sunday. So they would be, in essence, serving 26 hours instead of 3 days. So Councilmember Jurenski asked that we amend the 3 days to be 72 continuous hours. I did talk to City Attorney Bajork today. He said that could be a predicament with the jail, but we could see how that works because they, for some reason, may not have the time to be able to let people out. I just want to have full disclosure, right? That they can't exceed 72 hours based on the law. So, but that's what the change is from study session. Everything else stayed the same.
Very well. Councilmember Summer.
Can I just make a point on this whole thing? There was a request for data and whatnot on this last thing in study session, but it's going to take enforcement to show data and make a difference. You know, when the unfortunate events happened at Colfax and Havana, I spent a good amount of time interviewing some folks and spending time there and talking to RTD security and witnessing a lot of things, talking to Walgreens. And I did reach out to Chief Morris at that time and asked how many prosecutions there were for shoplifting at that Walmart, which is getting ravaged, pillaged, right? Day in and day out. She told me that in 5 months, there were 5 shoplifting convictions. 5 in 5 months.
Really?
That's it.
I'll tell you, so this ordinance, as you know, Councilmember Summer, adds a new section in the code specifically to retail theft that APD, once this passes on a second reading in 30 days following when the ordinance goes into effect, APD will start filing retail theft under the new city code. So we'll be able to track that better. That's odd to me. I think that may have been maybe a data issue versus.
She sent a screenshot to me on my
wow
former phone.
Yeah. So hopefully this will.
We have to do better than that as we rebuild our ranks.
Okay. Further discussion?
Mayor.
Councilmember Moreno.
Yeah, I don't support removing the sunset provision. I've said this before, but I do agree with adding more specificity. Like, I don't really know how we're going to be making better decisions if we're not even clear on how we're tracking that data internally. So I just wanted to state that for the record.
Okay. Further discussion?
Mayor,
Councilmember Hancock.
I just, in light of what you just said, which just blows my mind, having worked on East Colfax and seeing the retail theft in action, I think it's important that once this is all done, Pete, that we actually start collecting this data, because the thing that makes people emboldened and the reason why we're having all this retail theft, because they don't have consequences and they don't fear them. And so at this point, we want to see teeth behind this so that we can do actionable things to keep our community safe. I'm fully in favor of the sunset provision being lifted so that we can really get to the problems that we're facing in retail theft and address them really strongly. We've got to be able to do that.
Further discussion? Councilmember Bergen.
I was just going to say, I mean, we need to also talk to the businesses to report theft because
absolutely
not doing that.
Further discussion? Seeing none, call for the question on the adoption of item number 13B. What's that?
We need a motion in a second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Motion to approve item 13.
Moved by Councilmember Drency, second by Councilmember Sundberg. Further discussion? Seeing none, call for the question on the adoption of item number 13B.
The motion passes with 6 yes votes, 2 no votes.
Clerk, now please read the title of item number 13C.
Item 13C is introduction of ordinance ordinance 2024-63, amending Chapter 114 of the City Code by enacting Article 5, titled Shopping Cart Management.
Councilmember Hancock.
I'm going to kick it to Pete because he explains better than me.
Mr. Schulte.
Allegedly.
But let me just say that this is, to me, is not a trivial matter, contrary to what some people would think. This is really important in terms of retail theft. So with that said, I'm going to let you handle it there, Pete, because you're my guy.
Thank you, Councilmember Hancock, Mayor. Pete Schulte, Public Safety Client Manager. Councilmember Hancock and Mayor, you guys brought this to the City Attorney's Office asking to be able to, wherever shopping carts are found throughout the city, whether they are abandoned or found during an abatement of an encampment, right? Some of those experiencing homelessness. And so if it's abandoned, it gives the ability for the city to go ahead and seize them regularly. But if there is somebody that is on an abatement of an encampment, they do have a shopping cart. It's going to be called what we call a rebuttable presumption, which means it's going to be presumed that they were not given the shopping cart from the retail establishment unless they can show some sort of evidence at the time of the seizure, right, that they have a letter from the manager going, here's your shopping cart that I gave you, and so forth. If they can show that, then it won't be seized. However, there is, just established with review rules, there is a review by the city manager or designee that does say a process in the ordinance that if somebody does complain and say, you took my shopping cart that belonged to me, they can have a review by the city manager just to comply with law on having due process for those particular items.
Okay. Councilmember Berger.
Just a question on, so if it's a homeless encampment, did we change our 72 hours
Yes.
to 24 or what?
I don't know. We haven't changed it yet. We can change it, but we haven't done it yet.
Okay, well, I guess my question is, with currently 72 hours, you can still seize the shopping cart with, I mean, what do they do with their belongings?
At the time of the abatement, so when community services goes and does the abatement and they're going through and there's a shopping cart and somebody says, that's my shopping cart, then they will have a conversation with the person going, well, how's that your shopping cart? Otherwise, it's going to be seized. Now, their stuff will be either thrown or thrown away or left. But it's one of those that it will be presumed, and we call it rebuttable because they can rebut it on scene, and then they have due process after the fact if they want to fight it.
And when the homeless folks abate, they usually give them containers to put their stuff in.
Yeah.
And they offer them the opportunity to either go to the shelter or the pallet homes, et cetera. If they choose not to do that, then their stuff is placed in bags and then they go wherever they go. But they have to evacuate the camping.
But they gave them something.
Okay, Councilmember Mario.
I was going to ask about, if they take away what's the alternative, and then I guess the way I heard you describe it, I hope this isn't the case, but we wouldn't see somebody with a shopping cart and that's the reason why they're being stopped or whatever. It would be as a result of the other
Abatement.
actions, right? The abatement, but we wouldn't go
Right.
like, oh, clearly, you're homeless and have a shopping cart. Now I'm going to take it.
Correct.
That's not what's happening?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. So no, that's not what's happening. So basically the police, if somebody's pushing a shopping cart down the way and the police are not going to, this is not a punitive ordinance as far as criminal. So it does allow that if it's either abandoned or part of an abatement process where the city can make that seizure. But it's not designed for somebody pushing the shopping cart down or even sitting on a corner by themselves because it's not punitive in nature because it's not a criminal offense.
Okay.
Further discussion? Seeing none, call for the question on the adoption of item number 13C.
Mayor, we need a motion and a second.
Did we, what's that? Was there a motion?
Mayor,
Oh, okay.
motion to approve item 13C.
Moved by Councilmember Jelinski, second by?
Hancock.
Second by Councilmember Hancock to approve item number 13C. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, call for the question on the adoption of item number 13C.
Councilmember Murillo.
Yes.
The motion passes with 8 yes votes for item 13C.
Clerk, now please read the top of item number 13E.
Okay, so
I'm sorry,
item
13D.
Item 13D is introduction of ordinance 2024-64, amending sections of the city code pertaining to mandatory impoundment of vehicles stopped by a police officer where the officer has probable cause that the operator does not have a valid driver's license, the vehicle is not properly registered, and the vehicle does not have insurance as required by law.
Councilmember Hancock.
Sorry, Mayor, we do have 2 individuals who would like to speak on this item.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Mary.
Robbie DeYoung.
Robbie DeYoung is not to be found.
Okay, so we have 1 individual who would like to speak? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, Justina Medinska.
Yes. Oh, she is?
Hi, how are you? I don't know if you can hear me right now. I am absolutely in favor for this actual ordinance. I think it's about time. And I want to apologize, actually, the City Council for all the other citizens of the Aurora for inappropriate behavior. I think it was a little bit out of control. I think there's not enough also recognition for our police officers. I work in actually first course appearance. There is a problem with not having people actually license or actually driving without driver license. And I know talking with the police officers, there's always this choice. What should I do? Where should I go? I know we understaff. And I think that I absolutely think it's about time. Actually, we have a person who's been involved in an accident recently by the person who has no driver license, has no plates, nothing on it, and flee the scene. And now she has to purchase a brand new car out of her pocket. So I really think that I think this is a very good, actually, in my opinion, just the amendment for this actually for the city that this cars has to be removed out of the streets because we do not know what they have inside. We don't know who's driving them. And I think they're just causing too much, I don't know, problems with our residents. They don't feel safe. Most of the time they have tinted windows. They may transport drugs, guns. We just don't know who they are. And I think that police officers absolutely should have a probable cause to actually pull them over and remove the car out of the street. Thank you so much for your work.
Let me just say, initially, I bought the issue, but Councilmember Hancock refined it into a policy with the help of the city manager and with Pete Schulte. And so, but I remember, so I rotate, going out on patrol in the different districts, and I never tell the officers, what to do or anything. And so, but I want to see what they do, because I want to see what they do. And so, so one officer, we were going westbound on Colfax, and he goes, well, what are some of your concerns? I said, vehicle registrations. I said, cars without license plates, which was not good because it was kind of like directing him. And the next car he pulled over, which was the last time I ever saw an officer pull over a vehicle without a license plate. But that's a new issue for the new chief to deal with. But the person is all they had was a sheet of paper. And so they had no license plate, they had no driver's license, and they obviously had no insurance. But what they had was one sheet of paper with a little photo on the upper left-hand side and a court date. they had crossed the border, legally got arrested, humanitarian parole, pending adjudication of their asylum claim. And so, I think unfortunately, I think there's a lot of people that meet the criteria of all three. And it's not just that situation. I think it's epidemic. It is epidemic, and people where it's just, I'm a broken windows kind of guy where if you don't deal with the small things, they turn into bigger things. And that's where we are right now. And I hope the new chief addresses the need for proactive policing. This is designed to send a message. Now, Councilmember Hancock is working on another issue with the state that is for compliance, which will take our ability to prosecute these cases and put them in municipal court, which will make it much easier for us to prosecute noncompliance with vehicle registration, and working on some type of, I don't want to call it amnesty, but some kind of program where people can get caught up with State Representative Tone, working with State Representative Tone. So with that, I'm just in strong support of this proposal, and I think it will send a good message. And the fact that we have a new chief on board, and we easily track how many people get pulled, and it's not discretionary. If they meet that criteria, it is shall be impounded. It is not may be impounded. It shall be impounded. I think that's important.
And, can I just say brief representation just for the record purposes. So there's case law out there that talks about impounding of vehicles, but I want to be clear that this is the public safety aspect of it, right? Mm-hmm. The culmination of those three things, right? No registration, no driver's license, and no insurance, it risks the public safety of other individuals on the road. I want to be clear that this is not for there's case out there trying to get in to search a car, right, to do an inventory. That is not this process. And the other thing is, absent what we call exigent or emergency circumstances, like if it's 20 degrees below zero and it's snowing, that's an emergency situation that the police officer sergeant can say, we're not going to tow that vehicle because of the weather. Or that there are some exceptions, but generally, yes, Mayor and Councilmember Hancock, if all three things are met, whether under the city code or state statute, the officer shall impound the vehicle absent one of those circumstances.
Mayor, I just have a question.
Councilmember Lawson.
So one of the things I know that we had an issue about was the impound lot, and that was something that we've talked about, is expanding that impound lot. My concern with this is the impounding of the vehicles and having enough space to impound the actual vehicles. So what is the plan for that?
So I'll tell you right now, the city still utilizes a private towing lot, M&M Towing, right? They have the land, so it'll just be the same process, right? For them to be able to, if they get towed, they'd have to present evidence of these things. But if they tell us that their lot's getting filled up, I'll call Mr. Batchelor and I'll say we need to either. I hate to say it, but it becomes a game day decision if that happens, right? Jason,
yeah, we'll keep track of this operation, obviously, and work with our contract third-party vendor. If capacity starts to become an issue, we will work to address that.
Okay. Now, if they do eventually meet the criteria of having a valid driver's license, having insurance, and having the registration caught up, then they can get their car back.
Correct. So they'll be able to get their vehicle out of the impound, because our lot, because it has to be available 24/7 to be able to get the car out of the lot, or be able to contact. So here's the other thing: if they don't, then they'll hold it for 30 days and they'll auction it. I mean, they'll do under the code, the state law, when it comes to towing and getting rid of those vehicles. So if they don't get it fixed within the 30 days, it is subject to being sold.
Councilmember Bergen, then Councilmember Murillo.
Yeah, I just clarification. So they have to meet. Two of the
three.
All three.
All three.
All three.
Yes. Okay.
All three.
So no driver's license, no registration,
no
insurance.
No license. No insurance.
No insurance.
The registration could be no license plate, or it could be an expired tag. So it's registration. Yes.
Okay. And then when it's towed, because it's very expensive. So how soon are they notified? Do they notify that? How do they get their car back? If they're like
they got it towed because of that violation, and they want their car back, and if they'd have to go get a valid driver's license, go get valid insurance.
They could actually have it towed too. Sorry, Councilmember Perkin. If they don't have all those things, it's just to put it back on the public street. They could hire another tow truck company to go pull it from the impound lot and take it somewhere else. It's just that the towing yard won't allow the vehicle to be operated on a public road unless it's state compliant.
They can get their car out of the towing.
They can hire another tow truck driver. Yeah.
They would have to prove ownership.
They would have to prove ownership, though.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm not clear on that.
Oh, for gosh sake. Mayor, if I could.
Yeah, Mayor.
So I think what he's saying, correct me if I'm wrong, is that so if you had your car impounded and you wanted to get it out, but you hadn't renewed your driver's license, you haven't updated your insurance, you could have another towing company take it to your home. So
Put it in your driveway.
Or to your driveway, so that it wouldn't be sitting in, because to your point, if it's held in the lot for days and days and days, it could become expensive. So to avoid that, they could pay to have it, again, this is like a very hypothetical situation, but they could do that in order for them to give them time to go get their driver's license, get their insurance, and get it registered to be legally back on the road.
But then they're out driving again, right?
Subject to being towed again.
Okay,
Yeah.
Councilmember Mario, I'm sorry.
Yeah, just to follow that train of thought, we wouldn't be able to predict where the private towing company, like, do they have more than one lot, or is it just the one?
Just the one lot.
Okay, so like the way tow trucks work is distance, right? So you could live in Southeast Aurora and the lot is in Northwest Aurora. That's a pretty penny. I think I just have concerns on like the towing piece. Like we didn't really resolve that, and I know that I just remember hearing the horror stories the last time we talked about this, and people like racking up like egregious like charges from a private towing company, and they were like just people who had a unfortunate situation that couldn't get their car back for whatever reason. I know there's a criteria, but I think I'm not going to support. I still can't get over the towing piece for me.
So if somebody, I think it would be rare, but if somebody actually takes it, has a private tow and takes it to their house, then don't they still have to, within the 30 days, go to court?
So yeah, they'll get a citation for all of those items as well, and so they would have to address it at some point. But if they didn't have, I guess, so I'll tell you, the police officers are required when they impound a vehicle, they give a sheet of information to the person going, hey, this is where your vehicle is going to go, this is what's required to pick it up, this is the things that you need to do, this is where it's located, and those type of things. If they think they're not going to be able to do that, then they could take it to their home and then deal with it in the court.
That's kind of a dodge.
Yes.
So if the car was stolen and the police pulls over someone who stole the car, they don't have insurance, they don't have all three things, the car gets impounded. The owner of the car that had the car stolen, are they paying the impound fees?
No, so that would be taken under, that would be a recovered stolen vehicle. They wouldn't do it under this. Yeah, it would be, yeah. So it would be the same thing as anybody else who has a recovered stolen vehicle.
I just wonder if we should amend this to take out the option of a private tow.
So they have to, that's part of the state law. They have to be able to do that. But that's just state law that says, again, they don't have to allow it to be driven off their lot. But if somebody comes and can prove ownership, as Mr. Bajorek said, we can't stop them.
So if they don't comply,
then they risk having it on the street in front of their house where it could get ticketed or, again. Or if they drive it, they could be stopped again and towed again.
And then private tow to take it back to their house.
It's expensive to private tow as well. So
it's $100. Then there's no. So if it's in the impound lot, then it's auctioned off after 30 days. I mean, I think we really need to. Well, it's got to come back. It's an ordinance, so it's got to come back again. I think maybe we should consider an amendment.
But it's a state law, so I'm not sure that we have the flexibility to do that.
If I may point out, this is kind of pushing the envelope in terms of dealing with the tow company, because the tow company is regulated by the PUC. Okay. They have specific regulations as to what they have to, when they can release the vehicle and when they are required to release the vehicle. That's what this is addressing. So a private tow company can't have a vehicle sitting in their lot and say, you can't get it until you do all this stuff. They have to allow the an owner, after they verify ownership, the ability to take that after they've paid that fee.
Wow.
That's.
They don't have to let it to be driven, but they do have to allow it to be towed.
That's a big loophole.
So for
It's
me,
a big loophole.
Mayor,
Councilmember
so
Ross.
for me with that, the condition of what we just talked about with that loophole, on top of that, I think that that's a real big significant issue. I mean, Councilmember Hancock, I agree with you, and I know our residents want that, but I do think that that's something that we need to look at. And so for me right now, I can't support it, so I'll be a no.
Is there any way to close that loophole?
Not without state law changes. Again, because it's a taking, right? So under the taking, you have to have due process of law, and so that's how the state statute and the Public Utilities Commission deals with that with tow truck companies. There's strict regulations. But it's, again, I want to be clear. The towing statute in the city code already allows police officers to tow with just no registration or no driver's license. This is just making those that if it's all three, there's no discretion unless it's an emergency situation. So that's the difference. We can already tow it, but this just makes it mandatory.
But I also think, too, that just when it gets impounded, then the city manager, if that impound is filled, which we have discussed this impound situation, which I think we should be a little proactive on that and expanding or doing something. But then the city manager will decide on a case-by-case. I'm like, if I'm a person that gets my car, I have to wait for city manager Batchelor to make a decision of where he's going to put my vehicle? No, absolutely not.
Well, I just want to say that this is better than nothing. And I think that the reality, I think that most people that, I think most people that are just so irresponsible that they're not going to do all three are not going to get it, and are not going to do a private tow. It's going to wind up in the impound lot. It's probably going to be auctioned.
And Mayor, let me just point out, too, that the vast majority of people, when they get their car towed to the tow lot, if they have money, they're going to use their money to get their stuff together, not tow it somewhere else. It's $100 just to clip the car, let alone tow it somewhere. So, I mean, if you've been on the street lately, and I'm sure you have, we're playing license plates bingo. I've seen at least a half a dozen cars in a single day, no plates at all.
Yeah.
No plates at all. We have to focus on what this is. This is a safety issue. Driving is a privilege, not a right. So you're on the street and you're driving with no plates, no license, no insurance, and to the young lady's point earlier, whose friend got T-boned by an unauthorized driver who now has to pay that expense, not to mention any medical bills that she may have incurred and the replacement of her vehicle. To me, those two things don't balance. I think the public safety is more important than somebody being inconvenienced. And I think we leave it up to the officers to their discretion if it's a snowy night or somebody's pregnant or something like that. I mean, we're not dull. We're going to use good common sense. But I'm tired of seeing, and I'm tired of the emails that I'm getting from my constituents. They went into the parking lot. There were a dozen cars, no plates, expired plates, tags from 2019. We got to get a handle on this. As long as people think they can get away with this, they will continue to do it. And I'm hoping that this ordinance will because I don't believe in force. I believe in freedom versus force. But it will encourage people to go ahead and get their act together.
Okay. Councilmember Sunbury, then Councilmember Murillo.
24 years ago, I was driving, and my tags were expired by a few months. I got pulled over, and they towed my car and left my butt standing on the side of the road.
Wow.
But this is for all three.
Right.
And now, to the public safety point of view, there's a reason we have driver's licenses, for training and safety and be safe to society. And there's a reason we have insurance to help cover the costs of other people. And the more that people that are out there without insurance, it drives cost up for your innocent, law-abiding citizens.
Councilmember Murillo.
I was just I don't know if anyone remembers like how much it was per day for the impound lot, but I just remember it being pretty high. Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, whether you tow it or it's in an impound lot, that it racks up. So
I want to say I think, again, don't hold me on this. I want to say the tow fees, I think about $180, $185. No, the tow fee is a one-time fee. And then the daily storage fees, I want to say $75.
The daily
storage, something like that.
So the private company will charge you to obviously like tow it to their lot and then a daily lot fee. So my vote hasn't changed.
An amendment to tie the recovery vehicle into it for a few days? Does it make a little softer landing here for the individual?
I'll tell you, if we
2-3 days.
If we did that, we really would need to speak with M&M.
I think that this is really about sending a message that we're serious, and I think it's important. And I think it's not going to hit a big group, but it's going to send a message. And I got to tell you, enforcement has been. The new chief deals with this issue, but enforcement is so bad. I remember when I do my patrol things, my ride-alongs, that it used to be that people would buy fake temp tags online, and usually they're from Texas. And so they buy these temp tags. People don't even bother now because enforcement is so bad. They don't even bother to buy the temp tags. They just go without license plates at all. Or you see plates, expired 2 years old, and then the person next door, Corey, we all get these emails about saying, why should I do this if my neighbor's doing it? Okay. Further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, call for the questions on the adoption of.
I'd like the motion that the ordinance 13D be approved.
Okay, moved by Councilmember Hancock, second by Councilmember Drinsky to approve item number 13D. Discussion? Seeing no further discussion, call for the question on the adoption of item number 13D.
Motion passes with 6 yes votes and 2 no votes for item 13D.
Will clerk now please read the title of item number 13E?
Item 13E is introduction of ordinance 2024-65, adding section 9862 to the city code pertaining to the public not being denied access to the Aurora Reservoir due to private or social events held at the reservoir.
Mayor.
Councilmember Drinsky.
So, Councilmember Gardner lost his internet service wherever he's at. He sent us an email earlier today. He and I, over the past couple of weeks, went kind of back and forth on an amendment to this that I find to be a friendly amendment, and I told him that I would read it since he's lost his internet. So the current, it says section 9862, public access to the Aurora Reservoir. The Aurora Reservoir shall not be available for rent or use for a special event or private event that closes the entire reservoir to those individuals not attending the special or private event. The proposed amendment, public access to the Aurora Reservoir. The Aurora Reservoir shall not be available for rent or use for a special event or private event unless public access is still maintained, including walk-in access and access by annual parks pass holders. Groups renting the reservoir between Memorial Day and Labor Day will need to arrange for limited off-site parking access to ensure public access is still maintained.
Yeah, it's in the e-scribe.
Oh, he put it in e-scribe. He texted me, so we read my email.
Okay, friendly amendment. So.
Councilmember Drinsky, I think what you read is a little different than what's in e-scribe, though.
Oh, is it different?
Yes.
The second one? There's two.
Yep.
So we didn't add it. We didn't add anything in e-scribe. So.
No, I did, because Councilmember Gardner sent it to everybody.
He didn't tell me to do.
It's okay. No, it's fine. You're right.
Is it what I
It's
read?
correct.
It is.
It's correct.
I'm like, okay,
Sorry.
that's what we agreed on. So that is what we agreed on. Essentially, that folks still can rent out the reservoir, but it can never be shut down. The walk-in access from the neighborhoods can never be shut down, and public access can never be shut down. And whoever is having the event will have to arrange for off-site parking to bring those folks in to the reservoir. Annual parks pass holders still have to be allowed into the parking area, to carry their boats, paddle boards, whatever it is that they have. That's the amendment. Okay. Yeah.
Councilmember Berger.
So what if it's full and somebody who has a season's pass comes in and they can't, the parking's full?
Well, so as of right now, when the parking lot gets full, it's one in, one out.
Oh.
So that's when you see the line back all the way up to Quincy. It becomes one in, one out. Jeez. And so that's already an issue. So that's why Curtis and Councilmember Gardner and I came up with this, that if somebody wants to have an event, because the reservoir can hold a lot of people, and most of the people that go out there regular, they just want to go out and get on the water and mind their own business. So that's why Councilmember Gardner and I came up with this amendment where someone can rent out the reservoir to shut it down for people to come in and get day passes and stuff like that, just randoms, but you can't shut it down for the season parks holders or the neighborhood walk-in
No, but
access.
where's the season park holder? I mean, they're going to have to wait till one car leaves, which
is what we do now.
I know
in
but,
the regular parking.
But if there's an event, people don't leave for hours and hours.
So that's
and hours.
that's why the amendment
extra lot.
includes off-site parking. Whoever is holding the event will have to provide off-site parking, and there's a ton. There's a ton.
Okay.
They will have to provide off-site parking for their event attendees.
Okay.
So there's a whole nother parking lot, but it's a ways away.
Yeah.
But what they've done
But
before
they can
is
shuttle
they've
their
had a
guests in.
shuttle
Yes.
going back and
Yeah,
forth.
they can
so
shuttle.
always
They
do
can
that.
shuttle their guests in and still have their event, and all the season pass holders or the neighborhood people can still come in.
Okay.
You just wouldn't be able to buy day passes.
Okay, motion is in order.
Mayor, motion to approve item 13E with Councilmember Gardner's amendment.
As amended, moved by Councilmember Zirinsky, seconded by
Hancock.
Second by Councilmember Hancock, to approve item number 13C. Just further discussion? Seeing none, call for the question on the adoption of item number 13C as amended.
13E.
Oh, 13E. Stand corrected.
The motion passes with 8 yes votes to adopt item 13E.
Okay, reports. Just want to encourage people for updates from me to go to Facebook page Mike Kaufman Facebook, and you don't have to be on Facebook to get on. You have to but you do have to be on Facebook to post. Councilmember Coombs. Councilmember Gardner. Councilmember Zirinsky.
No report.
Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem Zvonek. Councilmember Moreo.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. I wanted to remind folks that my September town hall is canceled. Unfortunately, I have an unavoidable work conflict, but we will be back in October. I also wanted to just also address the last comment that we heard at Public Invited to be Heard. I was discussing white supremacist language, anti-Jewish language.
Right.
It was bullshit, and frankly, I'm kind of scared. Like this is what happens. We open the floodgate for white supremacists. When my family moved here, we were warned not to go to certain neighborhoods because they were active KKK members and chapters in Northwest Aurora. This is the kind of I pushed back on the anti-immigrant, the Venezuelan rhetoric, because I know that this opens that door. We've seen it time and time again, and I'm just absolutely just disgusted, and I am not okay. And yeah, for anybody who was listening, like that was some serious language that was not just towards people of color, but also people of Jewish faith, and it's absolutely unacceptable. And I hope my colleagues also feel the same way. I like to think so, even though we don't agree. That is unacceptable, and I have no other words. Except that I'm scared, right? Like as a person of color, I don't know what other people are going to feel now that that's now in the public domain.
Well, let me just say what the city of Westminster did. I believe it was Westminster that had a problem where they started to get these really racist calls, and you don't know where they're coming from. And they suspended their call-in line, and I suggest we consider the same.
Because we don't know where they're coming from.
You don't know where they're coming from. Yeah. Oh, but that okay. So let me. Councilmember Sundberg.
Thanks. Just to annoy Daniel, I list about 19 things here.
You better not. I'm leaving.
I did serve an amazing Aurora Award
Oh, God.
to a 100-year-old woman,
We'll accept that one.
a veteran, a Navy veteran, on her birthday. We surprised her.
We'll accept that.
And on your behalf, sir, on behalf of the city, it was truly an honor to serve
Okay,
this.
well, I got to make a call, so.
And then a number of us played at Soccer City for a tournament. Soccer City. I was chastised by a 6-year-old girl for using profanity.
Oh, yeah, he cursed at our charity soccer event, and this little 6-year-old girl looked at me and said, language!
We visited the future Wild Horse Reservoir, which is an amazing, it'll be like the 8th man-made wonder of the world, that what it's done. And then the London Mine, of course, water projects. That's it.
Goodbye.
Okay, Councilmember Medina.
Just my town hall's tomorrow, 6:30 to 8 at the Active Adult Center. We have the Highline Canal Conservancy and APS Bond.
Councilmember Hancock.
Thank you, Mayor. I had the wonderful opportunity last week of hosting Mayor Adria Gamabek. I'm not even going to try. I'm butcher her name. From Yoto from Togo. She came to the city. I wish you were there, Councilmember Bergen, because she speaks French. And I was very excited because my ancestral roots go back to Benin, Togo. So it was really nice to meet her and walk her around our amazing city. She took a tour, got a key to the city from the mayor and a medallion of friendship from me. And she was just a wonderful person. And I'm looking forward to a cross-cultural relationship ongoing with her. And secondly, to Councilmember Murillo's comment, I personally think that these cowards who call online and make these racist comments are plants. They're just here simply to exacerbate things and to kick up fear, and just straight out of Rules for Radicals, straight out of that handbook. And these folks are not really interested in bringing us together, but dividing us and sowing dissension, fear. They're designed to dismantle, disrupt, and destroy, and we should not let them get away with this stuff. I'm in agreement with continuance of this kind of thing, and the city council and the mayor, we should do something strongly about these kind of comments, because these cowards, they hide behind the phone and they call, because they don't have the stones to come and face us in person. And frankly, some of the things that have happened in our council meetings have just gotten out of control. People want respect that they don't give, which I find really disappointing. With that said, we're not going to stop doing our business. We will continue to do the business of this council and serve our city to the best of our ability. We will not be punked. We will not be bullied by anyone. I personally won't. So there's that. I'm here to serve Ward 4 to the best of my ability, and I hope concerned citizens, engaged citizens will also join me. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Lawson.
Yeah, I just want to thank my colleagues, Councilmember Sundberg, Councilmember Jurinsky, Hancock, and Curtis Gardner. We all played soccer. We lost for a charity event, but it was very interesting. We got beat by little ones, but it was fun. So it was good to support. They have very good programs for youth. So I just want to say thank you for that, because it was fun. It was fun. Yeah.
Councilmember Bergen.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yes, I just want to say that I enjoyed the water tour, the one-day water tour. As Councilmember Sundberg said, we learned a lot about the London Mine. That was very interesting. And then, of course, Wild Horse, we hope will actually get done one day in my lifetime. Saturday, I was invited by some residents at the East Quincy Highlands neighborhood. They did their first ever community block party. Wow. And so it was really fun. And I got the kids to do chalk art with me, drew my famous flowers in the sun, and then got them all to do their little drawings and danced with one little girl. Had a lot of fun.
Right.
Mayor.
Councilmember Rio.
I just wanted to be very clear that I don't take those comments in any light, and I'm not going to pretend like it's one political thing or another. Like, that's very serious for me. Like, absolutely not. So we can say all we want, but absolutely not.
Likewise, I do agree with that, Mayor.
Okay.
I mean, it's not political persuasion, it's just knuckleheads saying dumb stuff.
Seeing no further business before the Aurora City Council meeting, sir.